Chapter 16:14. The First Confrontation. 1. The two dragons and two phoenixes collided passionately, but it became a one-sided situation. The Sir God who controlled the two water dragons was obviously exhausted. The two water dragons became more and more illusionary, while Ning Hai became more and more courageous. After a while, the two proud light blue phoenixes finally devoured the dim and weak water dragon and circled in the air in a swaggering manner. The Divine Lord, on the other hand, was exhausted. Bang! He fell onto the stage. Seeing this, the judge waited for a while before loudly announcing that Ning Hai had won this round. When the family competition was over, Ning Hai won the championship with an indisputable result. As soon as he got off the ring, Ning Hai was surrounded by many clansmen. Most of them were trying to get on his good side, but there were also some who wanted to take the opportunity to win him over. According to tradition, the day after the family competition ended, there would be a grand celebration banquet, and Ning Hai was the well-deserved protagonist. When Lung Ruoxue saw that the competition had ended, she did not stay any longer and left the competition ground with grapes and lotus seed. However, just as they walked out of the arena, the three of them were stopped by two beautiful women. One of them was the 9th young miss of the Ning family who had been in the limelight before the start of the competition, and the other was the 4th young miss of the Ning family who they had only met a few times. Lung Ruoxue raised her brows slightly and looked at the woman in front of her with an extremely calm expression. "You're Lung Ruoxue?" Ning Shan'er knew that she had to be careful, so she sized Lung Ruoxue up with her beautiful eyes. Lung Ruoxue looked even more beautiful up close. Her face was devastatingly beautiful. Her skin was so smooth that it looked like it would break at the slightest touch. Her eyes were like autumn water, clear and transparent, moist and mesmerizing. She had a noble aura with a hint of coldness. The only flaw in her beauty was that her cultivation level was too low. However, this did not affect men's tender love for her. Furthermore, to men, strength was not important. Beauty and gentleness were the most effective weapons. To Ning Shan, Lung Ruoxue just happened to possess all these qualities. Vixen, Ning Shan cursed in her heart. Her impression of Lung Ruoxue was as bad as dust. Ever since she was young, she had always been confident in her beauty. However, in front of Lung Ruoxue, she could not bring herself to be confident. Furthermore, she would not allow anyone to be more beautiful than her and steal her limelight. So, from the moment she saw Lung Ruoxue was destined to become her mortal enemy. A lifelong enemy. That's right. What can I do for you, young lady? Lung Ruoxue smiled faintly as her beautiful eyes sized up the red-robed lady before her. It was said that red clothes were like fire. People who liked to wear red clothes were either hot-tempered or tyrannical. He wondered which kind of person this 9th young mistress belonged to. However, she could also see that this 9th young mistress had an inexplicable hostility towards her. Although she didn't know how she had offended her, according to her principles, as long as the 9th young mistress didn't take the initiative to provoke her, she wouldn't look for trouble for no reason. Ning Shan, the 9th young lady of the Ning family. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue did not seem to know who she was, Ning Shan could not help but feel a little angry. "I've long heard of your great name." Lung Ruoxue had a faint smile on her face as she spoke in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing. "Since you know who I am, hurry up and bow," Ning Shan'er said arrogantly. The way she looked at Lung Ruoxue was as if Lung Ruoxue was just a lowly servant of the Ning family. "It is. Hurry up and bow to us," Ning Lian said proudly, but the smile on her lips could not hide her good mood. When Lung Ruoxue heard their conversation, she was stunned and speechless. She really didn't know where these two women got their courage from. Were they feeling good about themselves? She had seen many daughters from rich families, but it was rare to see one so self-righteous. "Thanks, what a joke. Who do you think you are? You want my family's young miss to bow to you. Are you even worthy?" Grape said with a look of disdain. "How audacious! You lowly servant actually dared to offend your superior. Men, capture this lowly servant and serve her with the family law." Ningxian roared in anger. She had done this to give Lung Ruoxue a warning. That's right. Someone come quickly. Ning Lian also shouted loudly, 100% using her authority as a fox to intimidate others. Hearing their cries, a group of guards happened to pass by and quickly ran over. Ninth young mistress, fourth young mistress, what can I do for you? The captain of the guards asked. Take this cheap slave into the prison. Ningxian instructed. The guard looked at Ningxian, then sneaked a glance at Lung Ruoxue. He was in a difficult position. They could not afford to offend the ninth young mistress, but they could not afford to offend Lung Ruoxue even more. Sigh. If they had known that they would be in such a difficult situation, they would not have come. At this moment, the captain of the guards was filled with regret. They'll see who dares to touch my maidservant. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue said with a faint smile. Even though her voice was not loud, it was enough for everyone to hear her clearly. Your maidservant has offended her superior, Ningxian reminded. Actually, she wanted to capture Lung Ruoxue more, but she did not have the guts to do so. Hence, she could only vent her anger on Lung Ruoxue's maidservant. Moreover, that maidservant had provoked her yesterday. Since she had managed to escape yesterday, she would not get away with it today. What did she do? Lung Ruoxue asked with a half-smile. She offended me and fourth sister, Ningxian said loudly. You and fourth miss? You're not her master, so what if I offend you? Even I, as her master, didn't say anything, so what right do you have to punish my maidservant? Lung Ruoxue smiled faintly and asked in disbelief. Lung Ruoxue, don't forget where you are now. This is the Ning family. You're just living under someone else's roof. Humph. You dare to be so arrogant in front of the host family. You really don't want to live. Ningxian laughed coldly. Ninth young mistress, it's true that we're living under someone else's roof, but we're not living under your roof. The Ning family belongs to my godfather. According to seniority, I'm your elder. It's already rude of you to not greet your elder, but now you're giving your elder a hard time. Is this how the Ning family treats guests? Lung Ruoxue said with a calm smile. You still want to be our elder? This is preposterous. Ningxian was furious. He raised his hand and was about to give Lung Ruoxue a slap, but Lung Ruoxue grabbed his wrist. You'll regret it if you hit me. Lung Ruoxue chuckled. The expression on her face was neither angry nor annoyed, so no one could tell what she was thinking. Damn it, let me go. Ningxian struggled, but Lung Ruoxue's slender hand was like a pair of iron pincers that held her wrist tightly, preventing her from breaking free. Upon seeing this, Ningxian could only secretly give Ning Lian a look. Ning Lian understood and unexpectedly reached out her hand to slap Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face. Lianzi quickly grabbed Ning Lian's wrist and gave her a tight slap. Half of Ning Lian's face was swollen. Chapter 16:15. The First Confrontation, 2. Ning Lian gasped. She had never been so humiliated in her entire life. Besides the pain, she felt more embarrassed than anything else. Why are you crying? Don't cry. When Ningxian saw the situation, she said unhappily. She was cursing in her heart. What a useless woman. She couldn't even handle such a small matter and even let a maidservant beat her up. If this were to spread, wouldn't she be laughed at to death? She really regretted bringing Ning Lian this idiot, with her today. He had thought that having an idiot by his side would bring out his cleverness. Who knew that this idiot was actually a piece of mud that couldn't be helped? Lung Ruoxue and the other two laughed in their hearts when they saw that the two of them had the tendency to turn against each other. You cheap slave, you actually dare to hit me? Tears welled up in Ning Lian's beautiful eyes as she vented all her anger on Lotus Seed. It was fine if she was scolded by Ningxian, but a little maidservant actually dared to bully her. She really didn't know what was good for her. She secretly hated her. You wanted to hit my family's young miss. Me giving you a slap is already considered light. Lotus Seed said disdainfully, his grip on her wrist tightening. Arg, it hurts. Ning Lian gritted her teeth, her imposing manner completely gone. Seeing this, Lotus Seed let go of her hand in disdain and push her back, only to hear a plop. Ning Lian fell to the ground in an extremely inelegant position and fainted. The dress she was wearing was flipped to her waist, revealing her two white and thick legs. What was even more incredible was that the bottom of her dress was completely exposed. It was all exposed to everyone, especially the guards who were present. They all widened their eyes in disbelief and were dumbfounded. After a long while, they came back to their senses and turned around. It was impolite not to look. The sight of Ning Lian's naked body after she fell to the ground stunned Lung Ruoxue and the other two. They thought to themselves, I didn't expect Ning Lian to be such a reserved person. What's the meaning of her dressing like this? The three of them were very curious. When Ning Shan saw this, she only felt embarrassed and regretted being with this dumb woman even more. Cheng Xian and Ning Haolan, who had been hiding in a corner, were also dumbfounded by this dramatic scene. However, they quickly regained their senses. Your sister sure is open-minded. Cheng Xian couldn't help but tease. There was an obvious hint of gloating in his tone. She's not my sister. Ning Haolan rolled his eyes at Cheng Xian. That's even less of a sister to me. Should we be the hero, saving the beauty? Cheng Xian said with a smirk. If you want to save Ning Shan, then go. I'm not stopping you. Ning Haolan's lips curled into an evil smile as he teased her. Who said we were going to save her? I'm talking about saving Lung Ruoxue. Cheng Xian protested in agitation. You think she needs you to save her? Ning Haolan raised an eyebrow and asked. Of course. The weak woman had fallen into the hands of Poison Scorpion. If I don't save her, she'll be bullied. Cheng Xian said matter-of-factly. Which eye of yours saw her being bullied? Ning Haolan was speechless. In his opinion, the one who was being bullied was obviously Ning Shan. He really did not expect that a god monarch was actually helpless against a mid-level deity. This was really too unbelievable. I can see it with both eyes, no? I have to go out and save the beauty. After Cheng Xian finished speaking, he strode towards Lung Ruoxue's direction. After walking to Lung Ruoxue's side, Cheng Xian smiled and looked at the two people who were at daggers drawn. He said happily, Ape shit. I can't believe I met the 9th young mistress here. Thanks, what are you doing here? When Ning Shan saw Cheng Xian, she was not happy at all. She did not want this man to see her embarrassing herself. He would definitely take the opportunity to laugh at her. I'm here to see you. They're all people I know. You two seem to have a good relationship. Look, you're holding her hand so tightly. Cheng Xian said with an envious look. As expected, Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Cheng Xian's words. She thought to herself, which eye of yours saw that were close? He only grabbed her because he didn't want to be slapped. Damn it, let me go. Cheng Xian's words seemed to have an invisible force, stimulating Ning Shan, and making her struggle again. Why couldn't she escape from Lung Ruoxue's control? She was a divine lord. All right then. Lung Ruoxue was very obedient. With a gentle wave of her hand, she released Ning Shan's wrist that was restrained. However, it seemed that she had released Ning Shan with too much force. Ning Shan lost her balance and fell backward from the rebound. Bang! He fell to the ground. Seeing this, Cheng Xian lowered his head and laughed secretly. On the other hand, Ning Shan flew into a rage out of embarrassment. She crawled up from the ground in a sorry state and glared at Lung Ruoxue fiercely. She roared furiously, Damn it! You're clearly doing this on purpose. In her entire life, she had never lost so much face. At this moment, she even had the thought of biting Lung Ruoxue to death. 9th young mistress, you're so unreasonable. You asked me to let you go, and I did as you were told. However, you didn't stand firm, and you actually put the blame on me. You're really going too far. I'm going to tell Godfather that you've wronged me. Lung Ruoxue's eyes were filled with tears as she spoke in an extremely aggrieved tone. It is. You bullied my family's young miss. You must definitely tell the Ning family's old ancestor about this. Grape echoed indignantly. It's really impolite to ask the Ning family's old ancestor to take care of the Ning family's juniors. As juniors, They actually dare to ask my family's young miss to bow to them? Which family's upbringing is this? Lotus Seed also added fuel to the fire. You even wanted to give my family's young miss a slap. Grape added, You guys. Ning Shaner was so angry at Lung Ruoxue and the other two that she was speechless. Her towering chest heaved up and down rapidly, and her beautiful face flushed red and then paled. She was obviously very angry. Cheng Xian saw that Ning Shan was angered to the point of almost vomiting blood by Lung Ruoxue's and her two servants' echoing words, and his mood brightened up. He unceremoniously added, Indeed, we have to let the Ning family's ancestor know. Otherwise, the Ning family's guests will all be offended by these unruly juniors. Yes. Lung Ruoxue and the other two nodded in unison. If ninth young mistress has nothing else to say, we'll take our leave. Lung Ruoxue said with a faint smile as she looked at Ning Shan, who was so angry that she could only stare. Then, the three of them passed by Ning Shan, and swaggered towards the forbidden area in the back mountain. As he watched Lung Ruoxue and the other two leave, Cheng Xian then reminded them seriously, Ninth young mistress, you really shouldn't have provoked her. AI. Fortunately, she gave her Ning family face and didn't do anything to you. Otherwise, it would be too late for you to regret it. There are some people you shouldn't provoke. With that, Cheng Xian also left. After hearing Cheng Xian's words, the anger in Ning Shan Heir's heart grew even more. She did not think that Cheng Xian was reminding her out of kindness. In her opinion, Cheng Xian was clearly provoking her. However, she had more important things to do now. Hence, she could not be bothered to continue finding trouble with Lung Ruoxue. Chapter 16:16. The First Confrontation. 3. She looked at the unconscious Ning Lian with disdain and left. When the unlucky guard saw this, they had no choice but to take on the heavy responsibility of sending the fourth young miss back to her room. As for Ning Shan, she left the Ning family's main residence with a body full of anger, heading straight for the city's largest inn, Ning Guin. Ningguei Restaurant was located in the southeast of the main city. It was one of the inns that belonged to the Ning family. They had chain stores in almost every city in the Divine Realm, and this Ningguei Restaurant in the main city of the Ning family was also the largest main store. Ningguei building was divided into 5 floors. The first floor was the main hall, the second floor was the dining hall, and the third floor and above were the guest rooms. After Ning Shan entered Ningguei Restaurant, she went straight to the 5th floor of the inn. The guest rooms on that floor were the best in Ningguei Restaurant, and she was naturally here to look for someone. However, just as she stepped onto the 5th floor, she was stopped by someone. Miss Ning, why are you here? A young man who looked like a guard said very politely. I am here to see Brother Yi. Ning Shan Heir's face was filled with shyness, and 2 red clouds appeared on her cheeks. I'm sorry. Young Master Yi is in seclusion and won't see anyone. The young man frowned slightly, but his attitude was still very kind. In fact, he had long been impatient. He had never seen such a thick-skinned woman before. They had already made it clear that they did not welcome her, but this woman still acted as if nothing had happened. She was always by their side. Of course, her purpose was obvious, but it was a pity that she was a toad lusting after swan meat. And that swan was not one to be trifled with. You won't even see me? Ning Shan Heir's face was full of hidden bitterness, and her eyes were overflowing with autumn water. She stared at the young man with her bright eyes, and her gaze was slightly electrifying. It's because of you that I don't want to see you. The young man sighed and despised Ning Shan in his heart. Did she think that by seducing him, he would obediently follow her orders? Although the beauty in front of him seemed to be quite lovable, it was a pity that he did not dare to have tender feelings for her. Seeing that the young man only looked at her indifferently, not moved in the slightest, and not saying a word, Ning Shan became a little anxious. She cursed in her heart with endless chagrin. He was only a servant, yet he actually dared not give her face. This was really infuriating. When she became Madame Yi one day, she would definitely teach these dog servants a lesson. Ning Shan was filled with hatred. I'm sorry. Young Master Yi said he won't see anyone. The young man repeated after a while. You didn't help me inform him. How do you know that brother Yi doesn't want to see me? Ning Shan suppressed her anger and said with an unconvinced expression. When the young man heard Ning Shan's words, he looked at her speechlessly. He could tell that Ning Shan meant that she was not included in the not seeing anyone category and that she was special. There's no need to inform you. Young Master Yi is in seclusion and has no time to see you. The young man sighed softly and said helplessly. Actually, he was a little sympathetic towards Ning Shan. It wasn't because of her persistence towards the person she loved, but because of her self-righteousness and self-admiration. It was rare to see a woman with such thick skin. Is it because of that Xian? Ning Shan asked through gritted teeth. Which Xian? The young man was stunned, and a confused look appeared in his eyes. Who else is there, Xian? Of course, it's the one with you. Ning Shan said through gritted teeth. That bitch named Xian was the only woman who could stay by Brother Ye's side. She was also the only woman who Brother Yi would treat with respect. Therefore, she was so jealous of Xian that she was about to go crazy. Miss Ning, you should be talking about her. The young man was suddenly enlightened, but he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It seemed like Ning Shan had taken Miss Xian as a love rival. What the hell was this? Other than her, is there any other Xian? Ning Shan was burning with jealousy. Miss Ning, Miss Xian doesn't like young Master Yi. You've misunderstood. The young man explained kindly. He didn't want Miss Xian to be hated by this hateful woman. That would definitely be an undeserved calamity. Misunderstanding? Do you think I'm blind? I can see it very clearly. Ning Shan clearly did not believe this young man's words. You've really misunderstood. The young man said with a faint smile. Actually, he wanted to say, you're really blind. Which eye of yours saw that Miss Xian like young Master Yi? Don't lie to me. I only believe what I see. Ning Shan said stubbornly. She had already determined that Xian was her love rival. Therefore, it was difficult to change her preconceived notion. In fact, she even thought that Brother Yi was unwilling to see her because of that hateful Xian. The young man was speechless. Although he really wanted to continue arguing that Miss Xian really didn't like young Master Yi, he gave up when he saw Ning Shan's stubborn expression. Thanks, unfortunately, his silence confirmed Ning Shan's guess. That damned woman, Xian was really her love rival. Ning Shan felt hatred in her heart. After a while, she spoke again. Is Xian here? I want to see her. I'm sorry. Young Lady Xian is not here either. The young man hurriedly said. Seeing Ning Shan's clenched teeth, he didn't dare to let her see Miss Xian. They're all not here. The doubts in Ning Shan's heart grew even deeper, and the sour bubbles in her heart continued to bubble. Young Master Yi is in seclusion. Miss Xian is not here. The young man said clearly. Ning Shan they're all not around. It made him feel a little uneasy. Then when will Big Brother Yi come out of seclusion? Ning Shan said with a faint smile as she tried to hide the sourness in her heart. I don't know, the young man said after some thought. Today's Ning family competition has ended. There will be a grand celebration party tomorrow night. I would like to invite Brother Yi to attend. I wonder if Brother Yi has time? Ning Shan said shyly. There should be some time. The young man didn't dare to speak too firmly. That's great. This is the invitation. I will be at the door to welcome Brother Yi. Ning Shan said happily. Then, she handed a golden invitation card to the young man. Although she really wanted to hand the invitation card to Brother Yi personally, it seemed like she would not have the chance to do so, judging from the current situation. Thank you very much, Miss Ning, the young man said courteously. After that, he did not say anything else. Seeing this, Ning Shan could only unwillingly take her leave. After watching Ning Shan's back view and making sure that she had left, the young man turned around and entered a room. Young Master, Ning Shan has sent an invitation to invite young Master Yi to a banquet tomorrow. The young man passed the invitation to a man sitting in the hall. I know, The man took the invitation and threw it on the table beside him without even looking at it. "Young master, are we going tomorrow?" The young man asked curiously. "Of course I'm going," the man said. They had originally planned to go to the Ning family, and now that they had sent an invitation, it saved them the trouble of reporting their names. "Then what about young Master Yi?" The young man's face was full of question marks. That young Master Yi was really in seclusion, and it seemed like he was about to break through. "Let's go take a look first. We'll go with him after he's finished breaking through," the man said helplessly, but he couldn't help but feel disgusted in his heart. That pervert strength was originally inferior to his, but it had only been a short time. Her strength was about to surpass his woo. It was really infuriating to compare. Compared to that monster, he felt that he couldn't even live. Just as the man was remorseful, a new law of the world suddenly descended from the sky. The terrifying aura that hit them in the face made it hard for them to breathe. The man and the others were shocked and hurriedly ran out of the room. Immediately, they saw that the room on the 5th floor was already covered by the law of the world, and a dazzling 7-colored light was seeping out of the room. The light lasted for a long time, and it carried a powerful pressure that made people feel respect. What was going on? Everyone present was puzzled. It wasn't that they hadn't seen the law of the world during a breakthrough, but it was the first time they had seen the law of the world carry such a strong pressure. This was really too inconceivable. Everyone's curiosity was like a cat's scratch, but the law of the world had not disappeared yet, so they didn't dare to act rashly. After waiting for a long time, the laws of heaven and earth finally dissipated completely. However, the door of the room still did not open. Seeing this, everyone could only continue to wait. In the room, an extremely handsome man was sitting cross-legged on the bed, surrounded by dazzling black crystals that were as bright as black diamonds. As he circulated the spell in his body, the spiritual chi in the black crystals slowly left and was absorbed into his body. As the black nebula-like fog in his dantian gathered more and more and began to rotate rapidly, suddenly, a loud and clear phoenix cry resounded through the sky. In an instant, a huge, pitch-black phoenix shining with golden light shot out from the nebula-shaped mist with an unparalleled domineering force. It circled the spacious room a few times before landing in front of the handsome man with extreme resentment. "Master!" The black phoenix landed on the handsome man's shoulder. At this moment, the handsome man slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were as black as ink and as dazzling as diamonds. They were more beautiful than the stars in the night sky. The ripples in his eyes were so beautiful that they could make the world lose its color. A cold glint was hidden in the depths of his eyes, concealing the domineering aura of a sovereign. Chapter 16-17. She's my brother's concubine when MOU I finally get to see you. A faint smile appeared on the handsome man's lips as he spoke in an extremely gratified manner. "Master!" MOU's eyes were filled with tears of joy. "Why are you crying? From now on, you can stay by my side." The handsome man gently stroked the black phoenix's soft feathers and said with a faint smile, Master, I'm happy." MOU forced a smile. After being washed by tears, his black and bright eyes became even brighter and more moist. "MOU, for convenience's sake, you should transform into your human form." After thinking for a while, the handsome man said, "Yes, master." "Yes," MOU replied. As soon as he finished speaking, a man in black who looked similar to the handsome man appeared in the room. This man was the black phoenix's human form. Although he looked similar to his master, his temperament was completely different. This man had a more wild and unruly aura than the handsome man. "Let's go out," the handsome man said with a faint smile when he saw that MOU had completed his transformation. "Yes," MOU nodded. Then the door of the room was opened, and the two of them walked out one after another. At that moment, the people outside the room were dumbfounded when they saw the person coming out of the room. Who was this person? Where is young Master Yi? Then, when they saw the handsome man behind MOU, The fire of gossip in their hearts burned. They all want to know who the person walking in front was and what was his relationship with young Master Yi. However, since young Master Yi didn't take the initiative to speak, they could only think about it in their hearts and didn't dare to ask. His name is Mou. He is my beastie's transformation. The handsome man chuckled when he saw everyone's reaction. I thought you didn't have any beastie. The man who was called Young Master muttered softly. How can I not have a beastie? I just haven't used it. The handsome man found it a little funny. His beastie had always been in a sealed state. Now that he had just advanced to the God King level, he had the ability to unseal his beastie. Oh, that's right. Ning Shan has sent us an invitation to attend the Ning family's celebration party tomorrow night. The man nodded and said, Then let's go together. The handsome man, who was Yi Chun, said. He didn't know if Shui was in the Ning family. However, even if she was, the old man in the Ning family probably wouldn't be willing to tell him so easily. He was well aware of this fact, but it wouldn't be easy for the old man in the Ning family to lie to him. Okay, he'll make the arrangements. The young master that everyone was talking about was Yin Xiao. Arrange what? Yichen was a little puzzled. He'll go prepare some gifts. After all, she's a guest. Yin Xiao explained. No need, just go straight to the door. Yichen said disapprovingly. Thanks, that's not good. A few drops of cold sweat hung on Yin Xiao's forehead as he speechlessly said, As long as I go, no matter what gift I prepare, that old man from the Ning family will not be satisfied. Yi Chun was well aware. Besides, he didn't want to go to the Ning family to give gifts. His goal was Shui. Does the Ning family's old forefather not like you that much? Yin Xiao was speechless. That old man loves to act coquettishly in front of Shui, and fight for my favor. Yi Chun gritted his teeth. He hated the old man to death when he thought of this. However, he could not do anything to the old man. He could only stare at him helplessly. Other than Yin Xiao, everyone else was shocked when they saw Yichen gnashing his teeth in anger. Oh my God, was this the serious and cold young Master Yi? Could it be that he was replaced? They could not believe their eyes. After spending some time together, their impression of Yi Chun was that he spoke very little. Every day, he would either be on the road or cultivating. He didn't really care about them. He would only speak a few words to the young master occasionally and hardly spoke to anyone else. This time, it was probably the first time they had heard Yi Chun speak so much since they had followed the young master and Yi Chun. The group that Yin Xiao was leading right now wasn't the group of people he had brought back from the Divine Mainland, so they didn't know much about Yi Chun. However, because of some things that had happened in the Yin clan's divine realm, they were in awe of Yi Chun and didn't dare to be negligent. I hope Shui is in the Ning family. Yin Xiao sincerely hoped that the man in front of him was too much of a troublemaker. Along the way, he had blocked countless peach blossoms for this demon. He hoped that he would not have to suffer so much, he prayed. Fortunately, Yichen didn't know what Yin Xiao was thinking. Otherwise, he would have scoffed at what he was thinking. The two of them exchanged a few words before Yi Chun returned to his room to continue his cultivation. Yin Xiao, on the other hand, went to prepare the gift. To him, it was one thing to give the gift or not, but he had to prepare it first to avoid embarrassing himself. The day passed by very quickly. Lung Ruoxue was bored out of her mind, staying in the forbidden area. Ning Yin did not come to look for her. As for the ninth young mistress who wanted to cause trouble for her, she had not seen her at all. She could not help but feel surprised. Logically speaking, the ninth young mistress of the Ning family should have tried her best to enter the forbidden area. How did she disappear? Lung Ruoxue was slightly disappointed. She felt that the ninth young mistress was too unprofessional. Furthermore, the second elder had disappeared. Grape, where did the second elder go? Lung Ruoxue lifted her beautiful eyes and asked the grape beside her. I don't know. You should be helping out in the main residence. Grape guessed that the Ning family would have a grand celebration party tonight. Everyone in the Ning family was busy. No one was idle. Except for the three of them. Ningbo had been captured to be a coolie. He didn't tell us when he left. What a disobedient bodyguard. Lung Ruoxue was a little unhappy. She knew that second elder did not take her seriously. However, she had his nude photos in her hands. Shouldn't that old man be more honest? Who would dare to hire an uncontrollable bodyguard? Great aunt, I'm here to accompany you. Suddenly, Cheng Xian's voice entered Long Ruoxu's ears. She looked in the direction of the voice and saw Cheng Xian dressed in red. He was standing not far away, making a scene. It seems like you're as free as I am. Long Ruoxu laughed lightly as she teased. Yup, I'm not a member of the Ning family. So how could the Ning family have the nerve to order me to do this and that? Cheng Xian said with a smile. Your red dress is a good match for Miss GOS. Is it a couple's outfit? Long Ruoxu sized up Cheng Xian from head to toe and came to an important conclusion. Couple? Don't talk nonsense. There's nothing between me and that woman, even whiter than a piece of paper. Long Ruoxu's words caused Cheng Xian to jump up in shock as he denied loudly. I'm not talking nonsense. Everyone knows that the 9th Miss of the Ning family will only marry young Master Cheng. Long Ruoxu laughed evilly as she teased. Chapter 16:18. She's my brother's concubine, too. That's old news. The 9th young mistress likes someone else now. Cheng Xian said, gloating. I don't know who's so unlucky to be chosen by her, Sai. It's really pitiful. Cheng Xian sighed. Cheng Xian's words piqued Long Ruoxu's curiosity. The man in front of her was already a source of trouble, but there was actually a man who could make the 9th Miss of the Ning family fall in love with someone else. In that case, wouldn't the man who made the 9th Miss fall in love be even more of a trouble? Great aunt, I'm telling you, this 9th young mistress isn't easy to deal with. Before you become a reverent god, you should try to avoid her as much as possible. Otherwise, if she pesters you, you'll cry to death. Cheng Xian continued to speak with a face full of fear. Why? Long Ruoxu did not understand, but she was not a timid person. If becoming a reverent god was the only way to avoid 9th Miss Ning's pestering and trouble, wouldn't she be suffocated to death? That woman likes to be unreasonable and distort the truth. The elders in her line are extremely protective of their own. So if we provoke her, we will be the unlucky ones. My heart still aches when I think about my blood and tears in the past few years. Cheng Xian said pitifully. Ha ha! Don't forget, my godfather is the biggest ancestor of the Ning family. No matter how senior the elders of the 9th Miss line are, aren't they also the descendants of my godfather? Don't tell me they can ride on godfather's head. Long Ruoxu said nonchalantly. That's not possible. Actually, I'm just reminding you. Cheng Xian chuckled. I know, thank you. Long Ruoxu said with gratitude. Hee hee, great aunt. Who are we to you? Cheng Xian laughed evilly. He had already treated Long Ruoxu as an ally, so if he didn't help her, who else would he help? Just as Long Ruoxu and Cheng Xian were chatting, Ning Haolan sent someone to invite them over. Following that, Long Ruoxu and the other 3 walked towards the main residence. The celebration banquet was held in the garden of the Ning family's main residence. It was a self-service event, with a few long dining tables already set up in the spacious garden. The tables were filled with decorative flowers and food. Although not all the Ning family members were present, almost half of them were. Ning Haolan and a few elders were maintaining order in the garden. Ning Haolan walked over when he saw Long Ruoxu and the other 3. You guys are here, Ning Haolan said with a smile. Our godfather and the others not here yet? Long Ruoxu's beautiful eyes scanned the surroundings, but she could not find any trace of her godfather. The old ancestor is resting in the meeting hall. They will only come out when the celebration banquet officially begins. Ning Haolan explained. Oh, Long Ruoxu nodded. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, she saw Ning Hai's entire family walking in. After greeting Ning Haolan and the others, she walked towards Ning Hai. Big brother Ning, congratulations on winning the championship. Long Ruoxu said with a smile. After the competition ended yesterday, Ning Hai had been surrounded by the people of the Ning family. Later on, when they went to Ning Hai's house, they found that there were also people gathered outside his house. That was why she had the chance to give her blessings now. Thank you, little sister Ruoxu. Ning Hai winked at Lung Ruoxue to show his gloominess and helplessness. Because just as they said a sentence, another clan member came over. Big Brother Ning. You guys continue chatting. They'll go somewhere else for a while. Lung Ruoxue smiled sympathetically before turning around to leave. Lung Ruoxue found a corner in the garden where there was no one and sat down. Thanks, miss. Are you tired? Seeing that her miss was not in a good mood, Grape said worriedly. I'm not tired. I just don't have much interest in this kind of banquet. Lung Ruoxue said softly. If it wasn't for Big Brother Ning, she wouldn't even bother to attend this celebration party. Miss, he'll go get you something to eat. Lotus Seed suggested. Just give me a glass of water. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. All right, he said. Lotus Seed turned around and left. Just as Lung Ruoxue was about to close her eyes and take a nap, she was suddenly interrupted by an uninvited voice. So you're here. The ninth young mistress of the Ning family said arrogantly with her head held high and chest out. What can I do for you? Ninth young mistress. Lung Ruoxue didn't even lift her eyelids as she asked lazily. Lung Ruoxue, today's celebration banquet is very important to our Ning family. Moreover, those who have come to attend are all members of our Ning family. You, an outsider, really shouldn't be here. Ning Shana reminded him with a look of disdain. Shouldn't I, an outsider, appear? Then does that mean the head elder of the Craftsmen's Guild, the head of the Chung clan, and the young master are also not qualified to participate? Lung Ruoxue raised her brows and asked calmly, how can you compare yourself to them? Ning Shan growled angrily. We're both outsiders. What's there to be afraid of? Lung Ruoxue sneered. The Armament Guild's Grand Elder, the Chung clan's clan head and young master are all influential figures in the divine realm. Who do you think you are to dare to be mentioned in the same breath as them? Ning Shan was burning with anger, but she did not dare to speak too loudly in case someone else heard her. Although I'm not an important figure compared to you, I should still be qualified to participate. Lung Ruoxue replied calmly. Even though she did not know the true motive behind the ninth young mistress' words, or perhaps she really felt that she was not worthy of attending the Ning family celebration party, it was not that easy to dismiss her with just a few words. Moreover, the ninth young mistress was not the master of the Ning family. Even if she wanted to kick him out, it would not be the ninth young mistress. Damn it! Are you going to leave or not? Hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, Ning Shan started to lose her patience. What if I say no? Lung Ruoxue smiled sweetly, her face filled with anger. Damn it. Just you wait. Ning Shan was so angry that she turned around and left. Seeing that Ning Shan had left so easily, Grape could not believe it. Miss, she just left like that? Grape said without a sense of accomplishment. Leave? How is that possible? She went to find help. Lung Ruoxue said. It can't be. Grape wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and was somewhat speechless. He needed help for such a small matter. However, the truth proved that Lung Ruoxue was right. Ning Shan had indeed brought a young man with her. Ning Shan had a faint smile on her face. She walked to Lung Ruoxue and said softly, He's my brother, Ning Haojie. You haven't been in the Ning family for long, so let him accompany you tonight. I can be your guide. She changed her strategy and said considerately, Hello, Miss Lung. I've long heard of your great name. When Ning Haojie saw Lung Ruoxue, he was stunned. One must know that he had never seen Lung Ruoxue up close before. At first glance, he was greatly attracted. Compared to Lung Ruoxue, all the women he had seen in the past were like dust, insignificant. Chapter 1619. She's my brother's concubine 3. Hello. Lung Ruoxue replied perfunctorily. She was interested to see what this pair of siblings were up to. Even though she could get Qing Ju to read their minds, it would not be as fun as personally participating in it. Miss Lung, I can see that you don't like crowds. Why don't I take you to other places? Ning Haojie suggested. His sister had given him the task to bring Lung Ruoxue away from the banquet. Although he did not know why, he agreed when he thought of the benefits his sister had promised him. All right. However, one of my maidservants went to get food for me. Let's wait for her to come back. Lung Ruoxue said softly. All right, he said. Ning Haojie nodded his head gracefully. Big brother, you should accompany Miss Lung well, and would greet the guests. Ning Shan was very satisfied with the situation. After she finished speaking, she turned around and left in relief. Watching Ning Shan back, Lung Ruoxue sat on the same spot without moving. Lotus Seed had gone to get something and had not returned. After waiting for a while, Ning Haojie was a little impatient. Miss Lung, why hasn't your maidservant returned yet? Do you want me to go and look for her? Ning Haojie volunteered. Then I'll have to trouble young noble Ning. Lung Ruoxue's face was full of gratitude. Her beautiful eyes glanced at Ning Haojie. Suddenly, Ning Haojie was extremely excited, as if he had been injected with hormones. It's no trouble at all. Ning Haojie was very excited. The beauty was actually giving him a charming look. This should be considered taking a fancy to him, right? He was secretly happy. However, Lung Ruoxue was too lazy to read his mind. Otherwise, she would have kindly told him that he was thinking too much. Ning Haojie had just left when Cheng Xian came out from the corner, followed by Lotus Seed, who was holding a glass of red fruit juice. Why are you two together? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously when she saw them appear together. When I came back, I saw that Ning Shan was causing trouble for the young miss, so I immediately went to ask young Master Cheng for help. Lotus Seed explained, her beautiful face still full of worry. Great aunt, are you all right? Cheng Xian also said with a worried expression. Do I look like I'm in trouble? Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Cheng Xian and asked in a bad mood. That ninth young mistress seemed to have something urgent to attend to, so she left in a hurry after exchanging a few words with her, leaving her with a smitten brother. Hee, it's good that you're fine. Cheng Xian laughed in embarrassment. Miss, what the hell was Ning Shan doing? She actually asked her brother to accompany you? Lotus Seed asked in confusion. However, she knew that the woman was up to no good. She doesn't seem to want me to attend this celebration party. I'm not sure why. Lung Ruoxue said, after some thought. This is too strange. She's not the master of the Ning family, so what right does she have to stop you from attending? Cheng Xian was also confused. Maybe we'll know in a while. Let's leave for a while. Lung Ruoxue suggested. Yes. Cheng Xian nodded. When Ning Haojie returned, Lung Ruoxue and the others had already left. Ning Haojie did not see Lung Ruoxue, so he went back to the banquet to look for her. Unfortunately, she was nowhere to be found. Thanks, not only was Lung Ruoxue nowhere to be seen, even his younger sister was missing. At this moment, Ning Shan was standing at the entrance of the Ning family's main residence like a maidservant, looking left and right. When the guards at the door saw Ning Shan's actions, they were extremely curious. However, when they saw the ninth young mistress' expression turn increasingly dark, they did not dare to ask. AI. The ninth young mistress really didn't know how to cherish her fortune. She could have attended the celebration party, but she stood at the door. As for the people who wanted to attend the celebration party, they could only watch the banquet at the door and sigh. The guards at the door complained in their hearts. Ning Shan, who was standing at the main entrance, was pacing back and forth on the spot like an ant in a hot pot. Her heart was in a mess, and she was abnormally frustrated. Could it be that Brother Yi was not coming? She was very disappointed. She had made so many preparations, but Brother Yi had failed to keep their appointment. He waited for a long time. Looking at the time, Ning Shan knew that the celebration party was at least 2/3 through and was about to end. Big Brother Yi still had not appeared. She was both disappointed and sad. Just as she was about to return to the main residence, she suddenly saw a group of people walking over from the left side of the main residence from the corner of her eye. Leading them was the person she had been thinking about day and night, Big Brother Yi. In that instant, the smile on Ning Shan's face bloomed like 100 flowers, dazzling the guards to the point of dizziness. Brother Yi, you guys are here. Ning Shan ran up to him and said with an excited and shy face. She lowered her head and did not dare to look at her sweetheart. Her heart was so nervous that it made thump thump. It kept jumping. Please call me young Master Yi, Yichen said coldly. Yin Xiao and the others lowered their heads and sneered. Brother Yi, we're already so familiar with each other. Ning Shan said coquettishly. Are we close? Yi Chen's black eyes were as dazzling as the stars, and a hint of disdain and impatience flashed in the depths of his eyes. His voice was unusually cold as he spoke. We've known each other for almost a month. Ning Shan could not help but remind him. Ha ha! Ning Shan's self-righteous words made Yin Xian and the group burst out laughing. Damn it, what are you laughing at? Hearing Yin Xian's laughter, Ning Shan was exceptionally angry. Can't you laugh? Miss Ning is too overbearing. To be honest, she really admired this woman's thick skin. Even that terrifying Yi Chen couldn't be bothered with her, but Ning Shan seemed to have automatically filtered out Yi Chen's disgust and continued to cling onto her. However, no matter how much Ning Shan thought about it, she was still destined to fail. Of course you can't. Ning Shan roared in jealousy. Miss Ning, are you planning to keep arguing with my sister at the door? Aren't you going to invite us in? At this moment, Yin Xiao, who couldn't stand it anymore, spoke up. You guys can go in, but she can't. Ning Shan pointed at Yin Xian willfully. TSK, even if you don't let me in, I don't care to enter. Yin Xian said disapprovingly. She had come here to look for Sister Ruoxue. Otherwise, she wouldn't even be willing to visit the Ning family just for the sake of this ninth young miss. You said it. Ning Shan was extremely pleased with herself. Then, she turned to Yi Chen and said gently, Brother Yi, let's go in. Since you don't allow Yin Xian to go in, then we won't go either. Yi Chen said coldly. Yi Dage. She said she wouldn't go in. Ning Shan was dumbfounded. She was extremely jealous. She never thought that Yin Xian would have such an important place in Yi Chen's heart. For Yin Xian, Brother Yi had embarrassed her so much. She could not accept this, and her hatred for Yin Xian deepened. Chapter 16:20. I didn't peek, Master, when I didn't say that. Yin Xian said, not giving him any face. In fact, she knew very well that Yi Chen wasn't being very good to her. However, he hated Ning Shan more in comparison. Then let's go in together. Upon seeing this, Ning Shan could only compromise and grit her teeth. After all, she had gone through a lot of trouble to get Brother Yi to come here. She could not let him leave just like that. What a joke. Do you think this young lady is someone you can order around? Just because you say I'm not allowed to enter, I can't enter. Just because you let me in, I have to follow you in? Yin Xian said in a bad mood. What do you want? Ning Shan's anger was stuck in her chest, making her feel very uncomfortable. Let's hear you apologize first. Yin Xian said with a smile. Ning Shan's face flushed red in anger. What's wrong? Miss Ning isn't even willing to apologize? Yin Xian's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of ridicule, as she said in a slightly provocative manner. I'm sorry, Ning Shan said as she suppressed her anger. She swore to herself that she would definitely teach Yin Xian a lesson in the future to avenge the humiliation she had suffered today. Forget it. I'm a magnanimous lady, so I won't argue with you. Yin Xian said magnanimously. Actually, she was not satisfied because Ning Shan's apology was not sincere at all. However, her brother kept giving her looks, telling her to stop while she was ahead. She could not disobey her brother's words. Seeing that Yin Xian had been dealt with, Ning Shan looked at Yechen with a charming smile and said gently, Brother Yi, we can go in together now, right? And Yechen nodded and added, Miss Ning, they'll say it again. Please call me young Master Yi. Don't make me repeat myself. After he finished speaking, he did not care how ugly Ning Shan's expression was and walked straight into the Ning family's main residence. When Yin Xiao and the others saw this, they suppressed their laughter and quickly followed. Ning Shan, who was at the back, stomped her feet angrily and had no choice but to give chase. Great Yi, young Master Yi, the garden is over there. After Ning Shan caught up to Yi Chen and the rest, she almost called to Brother Yi again. When she received Yi Chen's cold gaze, her heart trembled and she quickly changed her words. With Ning Shan leading the way, they soon arrived at the garden. However, before they officially entered the banquet venue, Yi Chen saw a familiar figure from a distance. Instantly, His heart trembled and then started to beat wildly. Schwer. It was Schwer. It can't be wrong. Although it was only a back view, he knew very well that it was the Schwer he had been thinking about day and night. Schwer was indeed in the Ning family. That's great. He had finally found Schwer. However, who was the man beside Schwer? The joy and jealousy of finding Schwer rose up in his heart. Thanks at that moment, Ning Shan who felt that something was wrong, followed Yi Chen's gaze and looked over. In an instant, the flames of anger in her heart burned. Damn it! Why are they here? Why didn't her brother bring Lung Ruoxue further away? She's my brother's concubine. Ning Shan who felt that something was amiss, quickly said, "What did you just say?" Yi Chen narrowed his eyes. Did he hear wrong? This annoying woman in front of him actually said that his Schwer was that annoying man's concubine. This was preposterous. His Schwer could not be slandered like this. Young Master Yi, she is my brother's concubine. Because my brother doted on another woman. They're having a conflict. Let's just ignore them and go in. The banquet is about to end. Ning Shan urged, her heart burning with anxiety. She did not want Yi Chen to see Lung Ruoxue. What if Yi Chen was seduced by that vixen? In reality, the reason why she didn't want Lung Ruoxue to attend this banquet was precisely because of this consideration. That vixen was too beautiful, and she had no choice but to guard against her. She already had a headache with Xian. If Lung Ruoxue was added to the mix, she would definitely go crazy. So, after she couldn't get rid of Lung Ruoxue, she arranged for a man to accompany her. This way, if Yi Chen really had any thoughts about Lung Ruoxue, she could push it to her brother. Now it seemed like her foresight was really wise. She hadn't even seen that vixen's face yet. Yi Chen was actually interested in that vixen. When she thought of this, she suddenly burned with jealousy. No rush. Yi Chen smiled faintly and walked towards Lung Ruoxue's direction. Ning Shan saw this and quickly followed. At this time, Lung Ruoxue was being pestered by Ning Haojie. However, she still had to put on a smile on her face to deal with him. In her heart, she was thinking, I wonder if Grape and the others found any clues? They had hidden well, but who knew that Ning Haolan would actually find them and bring them to the celebration party? Then they were stuck with this sticky candy. Helplessly, they could only split up. Grape and Lotus went to find out the reason for Ning Shan Heir's abnormal behavior, while she stayed behind to deal with this annoying fellow. Ning Haojie's voice rang in Lung Ruoxue's ears. She could only feel a buzzing in her head. As for what Ning Haojie said, she could not remember a single word. Ruoxue, you're agreeing? Ning Haojie suddenly said excitedly. The way he addressed Lung Ruoxue had changed from Miss Lung to Ruoxue. What did he promise you? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with question marks. Promise to come with me. Ning Haojie's face was full of excitement. He was so excited that he was stammering. With you? You're dreaming. A very unhappy voice interrupted their conversation, and then a fist went straight for Ning Haojie's handsome face. Bang! One of Ning Haojie's eyes turned black and swollen in an instant. Ning Haojie, who had taken a punch, was a little dazed and could not react in time. By the time he reacted and wanted to fight back, his other eye had also been punched. Instantly, he was dumbfounded so much so that he was stunned on the spot. Yi Chen was satisfied when he saw the symmetrical dark circles on Ning Haojie's face. He stretched out his long arms and pulled Lung Ruoxue into his arms, hugging her tightly. Lung Ruoxue, who was suddenly hugged, was slightly stunned. She looked at the evildoer in front of her in disbelief. After a while, she finally confirmed that the person in front of her was the man she had missed for a long time. She quickly reached out and hugged the evildoer's waist tightly. Free! Lung Ruoxue called out softly. Shui, I've finally found you. Yi Chen sighed and hugged her even tighter. At this moment, Ning Shan who had already walked behind Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen, saw this scene and her heart burned with jealousy. She cursed in her heart, Damn vixen, how dare you hug my man? You must be tired of living. Lung Ruoxue, how can you be so indecent? You're already my brother's woman, yet you still dare to hug another man. Ning Shan roared in anger. Chapter 1621. I didn't peek, Master, too. Lung Ruoxue, Yi Chun, Ning Haojia, and Yin Xiao were all stunned by her shout. What kind of situation was this? Yin Xiao and the rest looked at each other, not understanding what was going on. After Lung Ruoxue heard Ning Shan Er's words, she looked at her with a half-smile and said, "Ninth young mistress, what did you say? Did she hear wrongly? You're already my brother's woman, yet you're still so shameless. You let go of young Master Yi." Ning Shan Er's heart was filled with jealousy. She wished she could pull Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen away from each other. When did I become your brother's woman? Lung Ruoxue squinted her beautiful eyes and replied indifferently. Was she considered married? You still dare to deny it? Don't think that I don't know that you've already pledged to marry my brother. Ning Shan sneered. Umph. No one could snatch away the man that she had her eyes on. Even if she couldn't let Lung Ruoxue marry her brother, she had to ruin Lung Ruoxue's reputation first and make Yi Chen shrink back from Lung Ruoxue. We've privately pledged to be married. Lung Ruoxue did not look at Ning Shan and asked the dumbfounded Ning Haojia directly. We. Ning Haojia was so nervous that he couldn't speak. The man's eyes were so scary, and he gave him so much pressure. Although he had been punched twice, he didn't dare to have any thoughts of fighting back. The little bit he had before had been scared away. Big brother, what are you afraid of? Be brave and say it. Ning Shan kept winking at her brother, but unfortunately, Ning Haojia ignored her. What did he say? Another curious voice sounded in everyone's ears. Ning Haolan, Cheng Xian, Grape, and Lotus Seed walked over together. When Grape and Lotus Seed saw their miss being held in the arms of a beautiful man, the anger in their hearts suddenly burst out. The two of them strode over to Yi Chen's side and shouted, "Damn lecher! Let go of my young lady. Your young miss." Yi Chen was calm and composed as he hugged her even tighter. Sister Ruoxue, Grapes, and Lotus Seeds. At this time, Yin Xian also came forward. "Miss Xian, young master." Grape and Lotus Seed were shocked. How could there be such a coincidence? I actually met the young master here. What should I do? Young master wouldn't bring them back to the Yin family, would he? The two of them were secretly guessing with fear in their hearts. Big brother Yin, Xian, you guys are here too. When Lung Ruoxue saw Yin Xiao and his sister, she could guess that they were together with the evildoer and had been to the Yin residence. Otherwise, Yin Xian would not have followed them. Hee. Sister Ruoxue, I've come here to settle the score with you. You're too mean. How could you run away on your own? No matter what, you have to bring me along. Yin Xian pouted her pink lips and complained. After Sister Ruoxue left the Yin residence, the Yin residence became boring again. It was only until that terrifying man came to the door that the Yin residence was once again thrown into chaos. However, when they left, she also decisively followed them. Xianer, that's your home. A few drops of cold sweat dripped from Lung Ruoxue's forehead as she said speechlessly. After she finished speaking, she looked at the people around her and thought to herself, there seemed to be a lot of third wheels. So what? Didn't you still take away the grape and lotus seed? What's the matter with me? Yin Xian said, very dissatisfied. It's related. Without giving Lung Ruoxue a chance to speak, Grape quickly said, It doesn't matter. Yin Xian looked at the grapes with envy and jealousy. Thanks, miss. You're a young lady of the Yin family's direct line, so you're different from us. Grape reminded. She and Lotus Seed were just maidservants, so even if they left, it would not affect the Yin family. However, it was different for Yin Xian. If Yin Xian left with them, the people from the Yin family would immediately come after them. You guys are despising me. Yin Xian's beautiful eyes were filled with tears, as she said in an extremely aggrieved manner. Grape was shocked. She wiped the cold sweat on her forehead and helplessly thought to herself that she couldn't communicate with Miss Xian. All right, Xianer, I'd like to hear what young Master Ning Haojia has to say. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Of course, she could tell that Yin Xian was pretending to be pitiful on purpose, so she changed the topic. Previously, because of the appearance of these third wheels, they had delayed their official business. Well, listen to it too, Ning Haolan said with a smile. I ain't going to the toilet. The extremely uneasy Ning Haojie said helplessly. After he finished speaking, he ran off and disappeared. Seeing this, Ning Shan was extremely angry. Ninth Miss Ning, your brother went to relieve himself, so you should explain first. When did I secretly promise to marry your brother? How come I, the person involved, didn't know? Lung Ruoxu's face was filled with bewilderment. When Ning Haolan and the others heard Lung Ruoxu's words, they were shocked as well. Several pairs of eyes stared at Ning Shan, waiting for her to explain. Lung Ruoxu, don't you dare deny it. When she saw that everyone was looking at her with anticipation, Ning Shan was furious and threatened her. I'm not denying it. I just want to know, when did I secretly promise to marry your brother? Why didn't I receive any notice about this? Lung Ruoxu asked calmly. Her words made Cheng Xian and the others burst out laughing. Young Master Yi, the celebration party is about to end. Let's go in quickly. Ning Shan was unable to answer Lung Ruoxu's question, so she could only change the topic. I don't want to go in. I just want to know, when did my woman secretly pledge to marry your brother? Yi Chun said coldly, and he emphasized the words my woman. Cheng Xian and Ning Haolan were flabbergasted by his words. Grape and Lotus eyes widened in disbelief. Did something happen when they were not around? And these four words made Ning Shan go crazy. How could she be your woman? You've only just met each other. Young Master Yi, she's my brother's woman. How can you like her? Ning Shan was in extreme grief. Damn it, the thing she was most worried about had still happened. Why did this vixen keep pestering the man she liked? Did he have to snatch it from her? She was both angry and hateful. She even had the thought of swallowing Lung Ruoxu whole. Furthermore, she was well aware that compared to Yin Xian, Lung Ruoxu was a greater threat to her. Who said we just met? She's my wife. Yichen said coldly. Wife? No, this was impossible. How could you have a mid-level deity as a wife? She is not worthy of you. Ning Shan was unwilling to believe this fact. It's up to you whether you believe it or not. Yichen said disapprovingly. Miss Ning, Shui is really brother yes wife. Yin Xiao said with a smile. You lied to me. You guys are working together to lie to me. If Lung Ruoxu is young Master Yes wife, then what about this woman? Ning Shan pointed at Yin Xian and said. Chapter 1622. I didn't peek Master 3 me. I don't have any relationship with young Master Yi. You misunderstood and insisted on treating me as a love rival. Yin Xian said with an innocent expression. Woo! Now, the truth was finally out, and her innocence had been cleared. One had to know that she had been the scapegoat for almost the entire journey. From the moment she had been pestered by this woman, she had been treated as an imaginary enemy. That terrifying man did not bother with Ning Shan, and Ning Shan was not willing to listen to their words. Thus, this misunderstanding had followed them all the way. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You're lying to me. You guys are working together to lie to me. Ning Shan went into a state of madness as she shouted at the top of her lungs. After that, she turned around and ran away. What kind of person is this? Looking at Ning Shan back, Yin Xian was speechless while Lung Ruoxu and the evil demon ignored her. Great aunt, you're really his wife? Cheng Xian, who had been watching the show for a long time, asked curiously. This news was too shocking, and he needed to digest it. And Lung Ruoxu nodded with a smile. Then does the Ning family's old forefather know about this? Cheng Xian stuttered. Of course I know. Lung Ruoxu said, amused. Aya, the little brat is here. At this moment, the first elder's voice rang out in everyone's ears. The masters of the Ning and Cheng families naturally appeared with him. When Master Ning saw Yi Chun, he snorted coldly but didn't say anything. However, he was very unhappy because he didn't expect this evil man to come to his door so quickly. His arrival meant that his good daughter was going to leave him. Although his good daughter had already planned to leave, this man's arrival had changed the nature of her departure. Who's this stinky brat? The head of the Chung family looked at the handsome man who was carrying Lung Ruoxue and asked the first elder in a low voice. This fellow gave him a very dangerous feeling and also made him very unhappy. One had to know that Lung Ruoxue was the candidate he had set his eyes on as his granddaughter-in-law. Now that a strong enemy had suddenly appeared, his good-for-nothing grandson didn't seem to be a match for this man. No way. He couldn't boost other people's morale and destroy the prestige of the grandson he liked. It was a great taboo for a militarist to cower before the battle. Shui Heirsman, the great elder said happily. Although the old man of the Chung family didn't say it clearly, he always knew what this old man was thinking. What a pity. The young master of the Chung family had no chance. Previously, when Yi Qin's strength was low, Chung Xian might have been able to fight for it. But now he suddenly realized that Yi Qin's strength had actually reached the level of a god king. In this case, Chung Xian had no chance at all. However, this was good. At least, he could make old man Chung completely give up. That little girl already has a man at such a young age. How could she decide to spend her life with him so early? You should be more picky. The head of the Chung clan was very dissatisfied with this, but it was impossible for him to give up so easily. What's there to pick? Yechen's not bad. He's loyal to Shui, and obedient. Where can you find a man like him? The first elder said in disagreement. You old thing, are you deliberately going against me? The patriarch of the Chung clan was a little angry when he saw the first elder trying to undermine him. Old Chung, I advise you to be more honest. These two little guys aren't easy to deal with. Besides, your family's Chung Xian might not like that Shui girl, so why are you blindly following along? The first elder advised helplessly. How do you know? I didn't say that. The patriarch of the Chung family was about to get angry, but he couldn't help but ask after hearing the first elder's words. It's written all over your face. Every time you see Shui, it's like you're looking at a crystal mine. Who can't tell? The great elder rolled his eyes at the head of the Chung clan. Is it that obvious? The head of the Chung family muttered in a low voice. There must be. The first elder smirked and walked up to Yi Chun, sizing him up. Thanks, he's really a monster. I really don't know how you cultivate. The great elder was envious, jealous, and hateful. I was just lucky. Yi Chun was very humble, but his eyes drifted to Master Ning, and the two stared at each other affectionately. The master of the Ning family received Yi Chen's gaze and secretly hated it. Damn it, this brat actually provoked him. All right, he had to admit that he did not tell Shui, on purpose, that this brat had also come to the divine realm. From what he had heard from the master of the Yin family that someone had robbed the old man of the Yin family, he knew that this stinky brat had come to the divinity, and his purpose in coming to the divinity was definitely to find Shui. However, in order to let his precious goddaughter stay for a few more days, he concealed the news that this demon had come to the divine world. Anyway, this demon would come to find him sooner or later, so it didn't make much sense to tell him or not. Therefore, he kept this news a secret with a peace of mind. Until today, this demon had finally entered the inner chamber. Moreover, looking at this brat's appearance, he seemed to be very dissatisfied with her. But it didn't matter. With Shui around, he wasn't afraid. Shui would protect him. The master of the Ning family thought happily. Then, he ordered people to arrange accommodation for Yin Xiao and the rest. As for that demon, he would definitely stay with Shui. Lung Ruoxue brought the demon back to their residence in the Forbidden Grounds. After bringing the evildoer back to his room, the two of them went straight into the Bangles' purple bamboo house. Meanwhile, Grape and the others sat in the courtyard in a daze. At this moment, they were still a little dizzy. In the purple bamboo house, the demon hugged Lung Ruoxue tightly and did not let go. Mou, who was in his beast pet space, could not help but fly out. He did not want to be a third wheel. If he heard or saw anything that he should not hear or see, his master would not let him off. Therefore, for the sake of its own life, it was better to be sensible. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes widened as she watched the black dots of light fly out of the demon's body. She asked, "What's that?" "My beastie. Don't bother about it. The demon chuckled. You're beastie. Lung Ruashue had a suspicious look on her face. Yup, didn't I tell you that I have beastie? You can summon it now. The demon explained. Oh, all right. When did you come to the god world? And how did your abilities? Lung Ruashue sized up the demon, and the questions on her face increased. After you were captured by that old man from the Yin clan, I had Yin Shao bring me to the divine world. However, when we arrived at the Yin clan, you had already left. I gave Yin clan a good beating before chasing after you. I didn't know where you went, and it just so happened that the blacksmith guild was closer to me, so I went there first. I only saw Lu Feng, and after knowing that you didn't go to look for them, I came to the Ning clan's divine realm. Fortunately, I found you here. The demon explained. Then, your power. Lung Ruashua was very curious. She had not seen the demon for a few months, so how did he become a god king all of a sudden? This was truly unbelievable. Chapter 16:23. Little doll, you're too rough one. I've been looking for you and cultivating all the way. I've just broken through to the God King realm yesterday. The demon laughed. Oh, Lung Ruashua nodded. Even though the evildoer had said it so casually, she knew very well that the evildoer was hiding a secret from her. If he didn't want to tell her now, it probably wasn't the right time yet. Hence, she wasn't in a hurry to ask. However, after seeing the evildoer's strength, she felt a little inferior. No wonder Ning Shan would say that she wasn't good enough for him and even arranged a man for her. Shwea, the more powerful I am, the less men will have designs on you. Seeing through Lung Ruakshu's thoughts, the evildoer consoled her. Then you'll have to protect me well. Lung Ruashua chuckled as she leaned into the evildoer's embrace. Don't worry, unless I'm dead, no man can take you away from me. The demon's aura suddenly changed as he spoke with confidence. What's with that Ning Shan? Lung Ruakshu's beautiful eyes stared at the evildoer as she asked with a hint of dissatisfaction. Ning Shan had made so many arrangements and even poured dirty water on her. All of this was for the sake of this evildoer in front of her. So, she had to ask clearly, who asked her to be so petty? I don't know. I met her on the way to the Ning family's divine realm. She has been bothering us since then. However, I spent most of my time cultivating. Yin Shao and the others dealt with her. If you want to know the details, you can ask them tomorrow. The demon suggested. He's obviously interested in you. Lung Ruashue rolled her eyes at him. So what? I'm not interested in her. The demon said with a look of disdain. Ha ha ha. Of course I know that. Lung Ruashue laughed evilly and continued. Speaking of which, I've made a lot of arrangements for you today. What? The demon was puzzled. Looking at the demon's face full of question marks, Lung Ruashue felt a little amused and explained the situation to him. I think she's afraid that you'll fall for me, so she got me a man. This is the first time I'm seeing her brother. Lung Ruashue explained with a smile. That woman told me that you were her brother's concubine. The demon said sternly, his face faintly carrying anger. It was unforgivable for him to have designs on his woman. I become someone else's concubine? Lung Ruashue was flabbergasted. I won't let that stinky man off. Since you dare to covet my woman, you should be prepared for my revenge. A cold light flashed in the devilish black eyes. They're just unlucky to have provoked us. Lung Ruashue laughed evilly. Schwer, I missed you so much. The demon nodded and said pitifully. I missed you too. Lung Ruakshu's beautiful eyes stared unblinkingly at the evildoer. Her pair of jade-like hands quietly crept up the evildoer's face. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. This man was truly a source of calamity. How could he be so handsome? Although the word devastatingly beautiful was used to describe a woman, it was not an exaggeration to describe her as a demon, and his skin was so smooth and tender that even women would be jealous of it. It felt really good. She couldn't bear to let go of the devilish tender tofu. The devilish eyes were smiling with a hint of adoration. He slowly lowered his head and kissed Shui-Er's alluring red lips. Oh, a satisfied moan spilled out from his devilish lips. Shui-Er is so sweet. The long-lost sweetness made him so excited that his body was trembling a little. Thanks, his arms subconsciously hugged Shui-Er tightly. He wished he could rub Shui-Er into his body, and then he deepened the kiss. At this moment, Mou, who was flying around outside the purple bamboo house, felt the sweet atmosphere coming from the purple bamboo house. He, who was spiritually connected with his master, blushed and quickly covered his eyes with his small wings. Master, I didn't peek. I used my heart to sense it. Mou muttered to himself. It had been sealed by its master for too long. It had not been long since it came out, and it had already sensed such a stimulating scene that was not suitable for children. This was really killing the bird. Rare and strange. Suddenly, a disdainful voice entered Mou's ears. Mou raised his head and looked around with his bird eyes wide open, but he could not find the person who had spoken. Idiot! Look below. The one who spoke was Green Vessel. There's a little kid, Mou said as if he had discovered a new continent. He flew down from the sky and landed on Qingju's shoulder. Although it was in its mimicry form, it still took up a lot of space on Green Vessel's shoulder. Idiot! Qingju rolled his eyes, showing serious doubts about this bird's intelligence. Little baby, didn't your mother teach you not to be so rude? Mou said patiently. This was his mistress' territory, so this little baby must have some relationship with her. So, for the sake of her, he had to treat this baby better. If anyone else dared to call it an idiot, it would definitely teach that person a good lesson. I don't have a mother. Qingju was really defeated by this stupid bird. No mother? You're so pitiful. Don't worry. They'll love you well in the future. The child. Come, let Big Brother hug you. When Mou heard Qingju's words, his heart was filled with motherly love. He flew in front of Qingju, spread his little wings, and wanted to hug him. Seeing this, Green Vessel's forehead was filled with black lines. Following that, Mou pounced into Qingju's arms. Her two wings gently wrapped around his neck, and she hugged him. Good child. Big Brother will dote on you. Follow Big Brother, and you'll have meat to eat. Mou lifted one of his wings and gently stroked Qingju's head. When Qingju saw Mou's actions, he was so angry that he was about to go crazy. However, he kept telling himself to calm down. He had to stay calm. It was beneath his dignity to argue with a bird without intelligence, so he had to endure it. After taking a few deep breaths, Qingju finally could not take it anymore and shouted, Damn bird! Don't you recognize me? Mou blinked his bright black eyes and looked at the little child in front of him with a confused expression. After a long while, he could not help but ask, Little kid, should I know you? What do you think? Qingju said as he suppressed his anger. If it wasn't for the fact that he was so small, he would have given this stupid bird a good beating first. It shouldn't be. How could I possibly know a little kid like you? Mou mumbled and kept scratching his little head with his little wings. Take a deep breath. Qingju took a few deep breaths before he managed to calm himself down. He glared at Mou and grabbed his wings, throwing him away. Fuck! He had to force this little boy to swear. Qingju was filled with hatred. However, very quickly, Mou, who had been thrown out by Qingju, flew back. He even had an aggrieved and resentful expression as he peeked at Qingju. Little doll, you're too rough. How can you treat my cute little beast so roughly? Mou was very dissatisfied. However, this little doll belonged to the mistress, and he could not afford to offend her. Woo! It was really too pitiful. Who asked it to have a henpecked master? Chapter 1624. Little doll, you're too rough too. Rough? Rough? Fuck. It'll let you see what true rudeness and rudeness are. Qingju was furious, and the consequences were very serious. Qingju quickly pulled Mou into his arms. His pair of white and chubby little hands kept moving up and down. In an instant, black feathers flew all over the sky, and MOU's screams rang out at the same time. Arg, my feathers. You're a bad guy. Compensate me for my feathers. Oh, whoa, it hurts. Master, save me. MOU cried out in pain, and the little thing struggled in Qingju's arms. However, Qingju held it tightly. No matter how it struggled, it could not escape from Qingju's grasp. Qingju only stopped after he was tired from plucking the feathers. He looked at the half-bald little black phoenix and felt extremely pleased with himself. Damn bird, you don't recognize me. Damn bird, who asked you to call me rough and rough? Qingju was limping while MOU looked at Qingju with a pitiful expression. Whoa, what did it say? What did he do? Why was it treated so roughly? MOU felt extremely aggrieved in his heart. When had he ever received such treatment? However, it couldn't take revenge on this little baby yet, who asked him to be under the protection of his mistress. If it really took care of this little baby, its mistress would definitely be unhappy, and once its mistress was unhappy, its master would be unhappy as well. If its master was unhappy, it would be the one in trouble, so it could only endure this loss. It was just that its beautiful feathers were pitiful. MOU was secretly sad and determined to stay far away from this little boy to avoid being plucked for no reason. Am rude? Is it rough? Qingju looked at the little black phoenix, whose eyes were filled with tears, and said with a smile, No, you are very kind. MOU quickly said after hearing Qingju's words. Really? I want to hear the truth. Qingju deliberately put on a stern face, clearly not satisfied with MOU's words. I'm telling the truth. MOU lowered his head and said with a tearless face. In that case, he'll pluck some more phoenix feathers. He'll keep it for big sister to use in forging. Qingju said impolitely. No, don't pull any more. I'm in the wrong, all right? You're a little devil. MOU said with a face full of fear, his small body trembling. Who asked you not to recognize me? You stupid bird. Qingju said in a domineering manner. Can't I recognize you? You're really too unreasonable. MOU's face was full of resentment, and he was extremely depressed. What kind of person was this? If he didn't recognize it, he would pluck its hair. Did he think that she would recognize him after plucking his hair? Wait a minute. In the depths of its memory, there seemed to be someone who had done the same thing, but it had been too long and it could not remember. Who was that? I'm being unreasonable, so bite me, Qingju said in an infuriating manner. Fine, you're the boss. I can't afford to offend you, so I'll just hide. MOU lowered his head and said helplessly. It couldn't be helped. This little boy's background was too strong. It had no choice but to swallow its anger. If you hide, who am I going to play with? Qingju was extremely dissatisfied with MOU's suggestion. Great-grandma, then what do you want me to do? What do you say, old Ming? MOU was helpless. He couldn't even handle a little baby. He found himself a failure. Hee. Qingju laughed evilly and whispered a few words into MOU's ear. Immediately, MOU's eyes widened, and he looked at Qingju in horror. What are you in a daze for? Quickly do this well. Don't you like to do bad things? Qingju said calmly. How do you know that I like to do bad things? MOU was very embarrassed. Could it be that even a little kid had heard of its name? This shouldn't be the case, right? If you don't want people to know, then don't do it. Even though you don't remember me, I still recognize you. Qingju said as he shook his head. Thanks, you really know me? MOU's eyes widened in disbelief. Even a little boy from the divine realm knew its name? Nonsense. It'll recognize you even if you turn into ashes. Qingju said unhappily. But I really don't remember you. MOU was very embarrassed. I can tell that you're a heartless fellow. Qingju complained. I'm going to attend to official matters. Qingju's resentful gaze made MOU feel guilty. He did not dare to stay in front of Qingju any longer, so he quickly flapped his wings and flew away. Not long after, MOU flew back. That little kid, I didn't fly out. MOU said gloomily. They'll send you out, Qingju said as he held back his laughter. Then, he had an idea and sent MOU out of the bracelet. Mou left the bracelet and flew out of the forbidden area. It followed Qing Ju's arrangement and found Ning Haoji's courtyard first. Then, it used a secret technique to fly into Ning Haoji's room. At this time, Ning Haoji was sleeping soundly on the bed. Mou looked at Ning Haoji in disgust and cursed in his heart. Damn it, how dare he have ideas about his mistress? He must be tired of living. Thinking of this, Mou flew around Ning Haoji a few times. Suddenly, countless light spots fell from its body. After the light spots fell on Ning Haoji, they all disappeared into his body. Then, Mou flapped his wings and flew away. After that, it found Ning Shan Heir's residence and did the same thing. However, it hated Ning Shan even more than Ning Haoji. Therefore, after doing all this, it did not leave immediately. Instead, it carried Ning Shan to the toilet in her courtyard and threw her in. After a long time, Mou had returned after completing his mission. The next day, Lung Ruoxue and the demon had just left the room when they saw Grape and Lotus Seed guarding the door with a smirk on their faces. Miss, when Grape and Lotus Seed saw Lung Ruoxue, they quickly came forward to greet her. What's the happy thing? Lung Ruoxue saw the smiles on Grape and Lotus Seed's faces and asked curiously, Miss, when Ning Shan went to the toilet last night, she fell into the toilet pit. This is really karma. Grape said with a smile. There's such a thing? Lung Ruoxue was in disbelief. Miss, it was true. I heard that Ning Shan drank too much yesterday, so she accidentally fell into the toilet when she went to the toilet. Grape explained. Did you drink too much? Lung Ruoxue still couldn't believe it completely. She didn't think that Ning Shan would drown her sorrows in alcohol. However, if it wasn't because of her, then it could only be revenge. A lot of people said that. Whether it's true or not, only Ning Shan herself knows. Grape said with a chuckle, whether it's true or not, it has nothing to do with us. He'll go see Godfather in a while. We'll leave tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. At this moment, she saw the guards of the forbidden area enter the courtyard. Chapter 1625. Little doll, you're too rough. 3. Miss Lung, the acting patriarch invites you in. The guard said respectfully. What's the matter? Lung Ruoxue was a little puzzled. Why would Ning Yuan invite her for no reason? This subordinate does not know the specific situation, but the person sent by the acting patriarch said that he has something important to discuss. The guard reported. Oh. Lung Ruoxue nodded and glanced at the evildoer. Following that, they followed the guard to the Ning family's meeting hall. The moment she entered the meeting hall, Lung Ruoxue heard the sounds of an argument coming from inside. She exchanged a look with the demon, and they both walked in. The people in the meeting hall, who were arguing until their faces were red, quickly shut up when they saw the two of them. Why aren't you arguing? You guys continue. Don't mind me. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Then, she pulled the evildoer to an empty seat. Miss Lung, you've come. When Ning Yuan saw Lung Ruoxue, he stood up and greeted her. There's no need to be so polite, substitute clan head. You guys can continue. Lung Ruoxue urged. Miss Lung, we invited you here because we have something to ask you. Ning Yuan sighed and said helplessly, if you have something to say, just say it. I don't like to beat around the bush. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. And Ning Yuan nodded and continued. Miss Lung, it's like this. Something happened last night. Are you referring to the incident of the 9th young lady falling into the latrine pit? Lung Ruoxue interrupted Ning Xuanyuan before he could finish a sentence. It is. Ning Yuan nodded. I've heard about this from the maidservant this morning. She said that 9th young mistress drank too much last night and spilled it. That's why she accidentally fell down. Lung Ruoxue chuckled. Miss Lung, that's just the guess of our clansmen. According to our investigation, the truth is not so. Shana was probably thrown down on purpose. Ning Yuan said with a slight headache. This matter was giving him a headache. There's such a thing? Who would have such a huge grudge against the 9th young mistress? He actually threw the 9th young mistress into the latrine pit. Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of sympathy, but she couldn't help but snicker in her heart. This person was really too creative, and his style was very similar to hers. Oomph. Miss Lung, stop pretending. Other than you, who else would have such a huge grudge against Sean? The 19th elder said in a strange tone. What do you mean, 19th elder? Could it be that you think I'm the one who did it? Lung Roashua said with a smile that was not a smile. This 19th elder really liked to find trouble with her. Whenever there was anything that involved her, this old man would definitely jump out. She really didn't know when she had offended him. I didn't say you did it. What I meant was that you're the most suspicious. The 19th elder narrowed his eyes and sneered. Where does my suspicion come from? Lung Roashua retorted. Of course it's because of the man beside you. The 19th elder pointed at the demon. Thanks him? What does it have to do with him? Lung Roashu's face was filled with question marks. He's Sean Ayre's lover. You and Sean are rivals in love. You've already snatched this man from Sean Ayre's hands, yet you still dare to harm her. You're really cruel. 19th elder said disappointedly, as if Lung Roashua had done something that would anger the heavens. After hearing 19th elder's words, Lung Roashua was dumbfounded and speechless. Did this 19th elder also have a delusional disorder? Otherwise, why would she have such an idea? This really made her speechless. May I ask this elder, who told you that Shui, snatched me from Ning Shan, The demon sneered and asked, Isn't it? Did Shan, bring you into the Ning family's main residence? The 19th elder asked. It was really Ning Shan, who brought me in. The evildoer replied honestly. Isn't this good? You knew Sean first, and you met Lung Roashua when you came to the Ning family's main residence. So, you abandoned Sean and hooked up with Lung Roashua. The 19th elder concluded. This elder's imagination is really rich. To tell you the truth, Shui is my wife, and I came to the Ning family to find her. Your family's old ancestor knows this very well. If any of the elders have any questions, you can go ask your family's old ancestor. The demon had run out of patience. If this old man kept harping on this matter, he couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't beat this damn old man up. We'll naturally go to old grandmadam to verify it. However, if the matter is really as you say, then Lung Roashua is even more suspicious. The 19th elder said stubbornly. So you're saying that you plan to blame this on Shui? The demon squinted his eyes and said coldly. He could tell that the old man's words were just an excuse. He or they had already planned to let Shui take the blame. However, if they wanted to frame Shui they would have to ask for his permission first. She's the biggest suspect. Shaner also said that other than Lung Roashua, she didn't have any conflicts with anyone else. 19th elder insisted. In fact, he had spared no effort to push the blame to Lung Roashua only because he wanted to please Ning Shan. Miss Lung, Shaner said, you did this. Do you have anything to say? Ning Yuan interjected. He could not allow the 19th elder to continue spouting nonsense. Otherwise, if the old ancestor found out about this matter and blamed them, they would all be in serious trouble. What do you think, acting patriarch? If you think I did it, then just show me the evidence. Don't make wild guesses about me just because of someone else's one-sided words. You'll regret it if you annoy me, Lung Roashua warned. She really didn't know what the Nings were thinking. Did they think she was easy to bully just because she wasn't part of the Nings? In fact, their suspicion of her would only make Godfather even angrier. Or did they think that they could bully her without any scruples just because they were Godfather's descendants? Oomph. Of course, we'll show you the evidence. The 19th elder snorted coldly. Not good. Miss Shan is in trouble. Suddenly, the guard's anxious voice sounded outside the meeting hall. What happened again? Ning Yuan's heart sank, and he quickly asked, Why couldn't this Ning Shan just calm down for a while? Acting clan head, elder. You'll know when you see it. The guard didn't dare to say, Let's go out and take a look. Ning Yuan sighed and said helplessly. The elders nodded and left the meeting hall together. Lung Roashua and the demon also followed after them. They followed the stream of people and walked towards Ning Shan Heir's residence. Before they even reached the entrance, they saw that Ning Shan Heir's residence was already filled with clansmen. After seeing the substitute family master and the elders, the clan members who were watching the show quickly made way for them. Ning Yuan and the others walked into the courtyard directly. At this moment, in the courtyard, Ning Shan was singing and dancing madly naked. Her clothes were scattered all over the ground. When Ning Yuan and the others saw this scene, their faces immediately darkened. Chapter 1626. Little doll, you're too rough for what are you guys doing? Hurry up and get Miss Shan into the house. Looking at the stunned maidservants, Ning Yuan roared angrily. Damn it. Was Ning Shan crazy? How could she do such an immoral thing? If this got out, wouldn't the Ning family's face be completely lost by her? Acting clan head, Miss doesn't let us get close to her. As long as we get close, she'll hit us. We're no match for her. A pale-faced maidservant trembled as she spoke. What about you guys? Are you all dead? You don't even know how to help. Ning Yuan pointed at the guards and scolded. Acting clan head, we don't dare to touch Miss Shan's precious body. One of the guards replied, Don't dare to touch it? Then you're just going to stand by and watch. Ning Yuan couldn't help but complain. What was more infuriating was that the entire family seemed to know about it now, and they all came to watch the show. How preposterous. Don't just stand there. Quickly knock Ning Shan out. The third elder couldn't take it anymore and roared. Yes, yes, the captain replied. Immediately after, a green light flew out of his hand and hit Ning Shan Heir's neck. Ning Shan fell to the ground softly. When a maidservant saw this, she quickly covered her body with clothes and carried Ning Shan back to her room. At this time, the crowd outside the courtyard who had come to watch the show quietly dispersed. Acting clan head, elder, something happened to Ning Haojia too. At this time, another cry of surprise came into everyone's ears. After Ning Yuan heard this, cold sweat dripped down his forehead. What's wrong with Ning Haojia? Ning Yuan roared angrily. He couldn't help but complain in his heart. This brother and sister were both troublesome. If they kept provoking him like this, he would definitely die young. He's the same as Miss Shan. The guard who came to report whispered in fear. What? Did you knock him out? Ning Yuan asked hurriedly. At this moment, he felt like banging his head against a wall. Acting clan head, we won't be able to get close to Ning Haojia. The moment we get close, he'll attack us. The guard explained. After hearing the guard's words, Ning Yuan hurriedly ran to Ning Haoji's residence with the elders. Lung Ruoxue and the demon followed behind to watch the show. When they arrived at Ning Haoji's courtyard, everyone saw that Ning Haojia was just like Ning Shan. He was completely naked and jumping around in the courtyard while mumbling something. Seeing this, Ning Yuan and third elder worked together to subdue Ning Haojia and order people to send him back to his room. After that, the extremely depressed group returned to the meeting hall. Sitting on the chairs in the meeting hall, Ning Yuan and the other elders did not say a word, while Lung Ruoxue and the demons slowly sipped their tea and ate their desserts. They were very relaxed and casual. After a long while, Elders, what do you think about Ning Shan, and Ning Haojia? Ning Yuan asked. Acting clan head, this matter is very suspicious. I'm guessing that someone must have set them up. The 19th elder said. As he spoke, his eyes were fixed on Lung Ruoxue. Then who do you think is the most suspicious 19th elder? The third elder asked. This person is far away, but right in front of us. 19th elder had a hidden meaning behind his words. However, Lung Ruoxue didn't even look at him when he said that. She completely ignored him. 19th elder, there must be evidence for everything, and it's better not to talk nonsense without evidence. The third elder reminded. He knew who the 19th elder was referring to. However, he was not too willing to drag Lung Ruoxue into this matter. Regardless of whether Lung Ruoxue was the one behind this, they would not be in a good position. If the old ancestor were to blame them, they would all be in trouble. Third elder, why have you become so timid? 19th elder had a look of disdain on his face. 19th elder, I only believe in evidence. Unless you can find evidence to prove that this was done by Miss Long, you will not be able to convince us. The third elder said in a calm manner, I will find evidence. The 19th elder said, his eyes wide. Then well, wait for your good news. The third elder said with a faint smile, Thanks, good. Miss Long, since you don't want to admit that you're the one who did it, please show us your evidence. 19th elder pointed his finger at Lung Ruoxue. What evidence do I have? Lung Ruoxue was bewildered when she heard 19th elder's words. Of course it's to show evidence that you didn't do it. The 19th elder sneered. 19th elder, I don't have any evidence, and I won't take out any evidence to prove my innocence. Besides, you'll only say it once I didn't do it. Believe it or not. However, if you have evidence to convict me, then take it out. If you can't find any evidence, then just wait to compensate me for my losses. I can't be wrongly accused for no reason. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of coldness as she sneered. You don't have any evidence to prove your innocence, yet you're still so arrogant. This was preposterous. You all saw it. She's the biggest suspect. The 19th elder was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. I don't need any evidence. If you guys think that you can convict me based on Ning Shan'er's one-sided words, you're thinking too simply. Anyway, I'm not stupid, unless your brains are broken. Lung Ruoxue said venomously. Ha ha ha, their brains must be damaged. Cheng Xian's voice rang out in the meeting hall. Then, he and Ning Haolon strode in from outside. Is this a family meeting? Why didn't anyone inform me? The young master. Ning Haolon said coldly, his tone carrying a hint of hostility. This is not an important meeting, so I didn't inform young master. The 19th elder explained. Is that so? Ning Haolon sneered. Of course. The 19th elder said with a smile. Since it's not an important meeting, it's fine for me to sit in, right? After Cheng Xian finished speaking, he found a seat and sat down. Young Master Cheng, this is our Ning family's matter. It's inconvenient for an outsider like you to be here. Please leave. The 19th elder said with some displeasure. He's also an outsider, right? If he can be here, why can't I be here? Cheng Xian pointed at the evildoer and asked with a faint smile. Young Master Yi, please leave as well. The 19th elder said helplessly. The reason he didn't ask Yi Chen to leave was because he had something to do with this matter. However, in order to get rid of Cheng Xian, the devilish man couldn't stay here. However, the demon didn't even lift his eyelids after hearing his words and continued to do what he was doing. Seeing this, the 19th elder could not help but be angry, while Cheng Xian secretly laughed. 19th elder, to be honest, it was your ancestor who asked me to listen in. He was afraid that you would wrong a good person. Cheng Xian tried to hold back his laughter. Really, the 19th elder's heart trembled. A bad feeling rose in his heart, and he stole a glance at Ning Haolon. Seeing that the 19th elder did not believe him, Cheng Xian turned to look at Ning Haolon. It was the old ancestor who asked him to come. The old ancestor already knows about Ning Shan'er. Ning Haolon said softly, It's finished. At Ning Haolon's words, 19th elder broke out in cold sweat. He had thought that the old master would not find out about such a small matter so quickly. According to his original plan, he would report this matter to the old ancestor after he had found enough evidence. Even if the old ancestor was biased towards Lung Ruoxue, he would have to consider the feelings of the clan members. However, things didn't go the way he had hoped, which made him extremely depressed. Since young Master Ning and young Master Cheng are here, I'll say this one last time. Ning Shan'er's matter has nothing to do with me. If you don't believe me, you can show me the evidence. As long as the evidence is conclusive, I won't deny it. However, don't even think about accusing me without evidence. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue surveyed the crowd and spoke emotionlessly. After she finished speaking, she pulled the evildoer along as they stood up and left the meeting hall. After that, Lung Ruoxue and the demon went to find her godfather and told him that they planned to return to the divine mainland the next day. Even though Master Ning was extremely reluctant, he didn't force her to stay. He only told Lung Ruoxue to cultivate with all her might so that she could reach the divine world as soon as possible. The next morning, after Lung Ruoxue, the demon, Grape, and the rest had their breakfast, they went to bid farewell to Master Ning and the rest, preparing to leave. Before he left, the master of the Ning family pointed to the elders beside him and said, "Shue lass, take these elders with you and help me train them properly." Master Ning's words made Lung Ruoxue's forehead fill with black lines. Furthermore, looking at those unwilling elders, she was also very unwilling to take on this pile of trouble. Chapter 16:27. Shue is mine one, godfather. They're the elders of the Ning family. How can they leave with me? Lung Ruoxue could not help but remind him. What's wrong with the elder? It's precisely because they're not making any progress that I want you to help me train them properly. The master of the Ning family said disapprovingly, "Godfather, they won't listen to me." Lung Ruoxue understood. These elders had always been pampered in the Ning family, so how could they listen to an outsider like her? Moreover, if she really brought them to the divine mainland, without her godfather's control, who knew what they would do? She didn't want to clean up their mess for no reason. Shue, they won't dare to disobey you. They'll let Ning Shan stay by your side and report to me about their current situation. If any of them disobey, I won't let them off. The master of the Ning family said with a smile. He had thought of all kinds of situations, but he was afraid that Shue would refuse. Moreover, he had arranged it so carefully that Shue would not be able to say anything now. After hearing Master Ning's words, Lung Ruoxue and the evildoer looked at each other with a hint of helplessness in their eyes. They could tell that if they did not take these people away, their godfather would not let this matter rest. However, Lung Ruoxue was extremely unwilling to take them away. Even though Lung Ruoxue was a little reluctant, the elders who were about to leave with her were even more resentful. Yesterday, because of the incident with Ning Shan and her brother, they had already been called over by the old ancestor to be reprimanded. Furthermore, Ning Shan and her brother had been grounded because of this. They had also been sent to the godly mainland by the old ancestor. As long as they thought of having to listen to Lung Ruoxue's orders for a period of time in the future, the depression in their hearts could not be described with words. However, they had no choice but to go. Who asked them to not dare to go against the words of their ancestor? Master Ning, what you mean is that these elders will listen to us and do whatever we ask them to do? The demon asked. Of course. The master of the Ning family nodded. That's good. Shue, since this is Master Ning's will, then let's take them with us. The demon laughed. And Lung Ruoxue nodded. Even though she was unwilling, she had to give her godfather some face. Hee, great aunt. I want to go to the godly continent with you. Cheng Xian, who was standing in the crowd, also said at this time. What are you doing? Lung Ruoxue said with a slight headache. She was already depressed enough with these elders, and she didn't want to bring this young master of the Cheng family along. Go play. At the same time, it'll help the Ning family's ancestor to monitor these elders. If they're disobedient, it'll report to the Ning family's ancestor at any time. Cheng Xian said proudly. However, his words made the unlucky elders angry, but they did not dare to speak out. They could only curse Cheng Xian in their hearts. Ning Shan will be supervising them, Lung Ruoxue said without giving him any face. After all, Ning Shan is just one person. He can't handle these elders on his own. Cheng Xian said shamelessly. Shue, young Master Cheng, if you want to go, bring him along. The demon chuckled as he pleaded. All right then, Lung Ruoxue agreed. Even though she did not know why the evildoer was pleading for Cheng Xian, she would not reject such a small request. Shue, I want to go with you. Thanks, Sister Ruoxue, there's still me. Ning Yin and Yin Xian said in unison when they saw this. Big Sister Yin Xian will be going in a closed-door cultivation after I return to the divine continent, so I don't have time to take care of you. You'd better stay in the divine realm. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. Shui, you're biased. Even Changxian can go, so why can't we? Ning Yin said in an extremely aggrieved tone, her beautiful eyes still glaring at Changxian. That's right. Yin Xian also glared at Changxian with envy, jealousy, and hatred. He's a man. I can ignore him after we get there, but you can't. Lung Ruoxue sighed. Shui is right. All you stay in the divine realm obediently. Don't go and cause trouble for Shui. The master of the Ning family said firmly. With Master Ning's words, Ning Yin and Yin Xian didn't dare to follow him even if they wanted to. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue saw Ning Shan walking towards them from the corner of her eyes. There were 2 guards behind him, carrying a single rack with a person lying on it. It was the 19th elder of the Ning family. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue could not help but frown. Patriarch, Elder 19 is here. Ning Shan reported to the head of the Ning family. And Master Ning nodded in satisfaction. Then he reminded Lung Ruoxue, this 19th elder may be sick, but it doesn't affect the journey. You just have to bring him along. You don't have to give him any special care along the way. He has rough skin and thick flesh. He won't die even if he suffers a little. So the 19th elder is sick. Lung Ruoxue asked in surprise. Yesterday, this 19th elder was still shouting and yelling at her in the meeting hall. How did he become so sick in just one night? On the stretcher, 19th elder's face was as pale as a sheet of paper. He looked extremely haggard and his eyes were closed. He lay on the stretcher listlessly without moving. However, his eyes kept darting back and forth, indicating that he was still conscious. Lung Ruoxue immediately understood what was going on. Yep, he's been like this since I told him to go to the godly land with you. I guess he's just too excited. It's not a big deal. The master of the Ning family said disapprovingly. Godfather. The 19th elder is currently sick, and I really don't dare to take over. Otherwise, if something happens to him on the way, I can't afford to take the responsibility, Lung Ruoxue said, feeling troubled. However, her words made 19th elder, who was lying on the stretcher pretending to be asleep, so angry that he almost vomited blood. He's not dead yet. This wretched girl had actually started to curse him. How preposterous. However, since things had come to this, he had no other choice but to continue pretending to be sick. It doesn't matter. It's just an elder. Our Ning family has no lack of elders. If he really lives so short, I've already thought of a successor to his position. Don't worry. Master Ning consoled her. His words were like a calming pill for Lung Ruoxue. However, when 19th elder heard it, he was so angry that he could not catch his breath and passed out. When the other elders heard this, they all wiped the cold sweat off their foreheads in unison and thought to themselves, that was close. Fortunately, they didn't feign illness like the 19th elder. Otherwise, if they angered the patriarch, they would have to bear the consequences. It seemed that the 19th elder's future was worrying. With Godfather's words, I can rest assured. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently, but she was already laughing inside. Poor 19th elder. I wonder if he can still pretend to be sick after hearing what Godfather said. But why is he not reacting? Chapter 1628. Shui is mine, too. At the thought of this, Lung Ruoxue lifted her beautiful eyes to look at 19th elder on the stretcher. She realized that 19th elder's breathing was weak, and his eyes were not moving around. It seemed like he had really fainted. Wasn't this self-defeating? She laughed gloatingly in her heart and exchanged a few more pleasantries with Godfather and the rest. Then, Lung Ruoxue and the rest got on second elder's flying beast and flew towards the teleportation array to the godly mainland. The teleportation array from the Ning family's god domain to the divine continent took a week to fly. This was because the second elder's flying beast was fast enough. Otherwise, it would have taken at least 20 days to reach the teleportation array. Along the way, they chose to fly in places with no one. As a result, they had to camp in the wild at night. For the Ning family's noble and pampered elders, it was undoubtedly equivalent to a disaster. When they left the Ning family, the master of the Ning family forbade them from taking any attendants with them, so they had to do everything themselves, from setting up tents to cooking. Of course, they could choose not to eat, but just setting up tents was an extremely difficult task for them. Chang Xian wasn't very good at setting up tents either, but he was willing to be thick-skinned and ask without shame. As for the elders who claimed to be of noble status, they couldn't lower their noble heads, including the second elder, so they could only stare at each other. They didn't really mind that they didn't have a tent, because they thought that they could just sleep in the wilderness for a night. It was easy to muddle through the night, and they could continue on the road the next day. Unfortunately, things were not as simple as they thought. On the first night of their journey, Lung Ruoxue and the others returned to their own tents after dinner. Ning Bo, who was feeling uneasy, wanted to keep watch but was rejected by Lung Ruoxue. In Lung Ruoxue's words, there were so many elders here, and all of them were stronger than him. There was no place for him to put his skills to good use, so he just had to rest well. After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, even if Ning Bo sympathized with the elders, he could only go to sleep obediently. After all, the young lady was the most important. He didn't dare to disobey the young miss orders. The next morning, when Lung Ruoxue and the others walked out of the tent, they realized that the elders who had been camping in the wild had many red and swollen bumps on their faces from mosquito bites. After feeling their gazes, the elders all turned their backs to them as if they had discussed it beforehand. Seeing this, Chang Xian laughed out loud without holding back. Ha ha! The elders did a lot of good things yesterday, right? The mosquitoes here will be very grateful to you. Chang Xian laughed madly, tears flowing from his eyes. Although Grape and the others were embarrassed to laugh like Chang Xian, they could not help but lower their heads and laugh. What's so funny? The second elder was a little annoyed. He didn't expect the mosquitoes in the wilderness to be so powerful. His face was red and swollen, and he couldn't help but feel the itch. However, what bothered him more was that he had embarrassed himself in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. There's nothing to laugh about. Let's continue our journey after we finish our breakfast, Lung Ruoxue said while holding back her laughter. These elders were too prideful. If they were willing to ask, they wouldn't have suffered so much yesterday. However, if they didn't ask, she wouldn't have taken the initiative to tell them. After all, she wasn't that kind. The elders had no objections to Lung Ruoxue's words. They wanted to travel faster so that they could reach their destination earlier. Thanks, they continued on their way. They flew during the day and slept in the wild at night. Those stubborn and prideful elders were still unwilling to ask shamelessly. They would rather be bitten by mosquitoes. However, after the experience of the first day, they also had some experience. When they slept at night, they thought of using divine power to condense a small protective shield to protect themselves. However, in this way, they would have to consume divine power. After Lung Ruoxue saw through their thoughts, she only smiled and did not say anything. As for Ning Shan, who had been watching coldly from the side, he shook his head helplessly and sighed. However, the family head had said that he only needed to be a bystander. Hence, even though he felt that the elders' thoughts were somewhat inappropriate, he would not say much. Furthermore, he was very clear that even if he said it, these elders would not be grateful to him. So why did he need to do something unnecessary? The elders' method had indeed isolated them from the mosquito bites. However, after a night, they had used up a lot of their divine power. Hence, when Lung Ruoxue and the rest saw the elders the next day, they were all pale and haggard. However, those elders who cared about their reputation still forced themselves to be alert in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. When Lung Ruoxue saw this, she was even more disinclined to bother with them. Furthermore, once they got on the flying beast, they all fell asleep. Just like that, 5 days passed by. The elders, who had exhausted a lot of their divine power and physical strength, had used all their time during the day and night to rest. Even so, their spirits were still somewhat low. However, at the same time, they had also become much quieter. This was a good thing for Lung Ruoxue. Another night passed. Finally, one of the elders could not hold on any longer and fainted from exhaustion. When Lung Ruoxue saw this, other than being speechless, she did not have any other thoughts. One had to know that these elders were all divine emperors. To be able to make a deity emperor faint from exhaustion, it was clear how much divine power and physical strength they had expended over the past few days. Furthermore, Lung Ruoxue noticed that these elders had signs of being poisoned. After all, the mosquitoes and the divinity were poisonous. Even if they had consumed an antidote pill, it would not be able to completely cure the mosquito's poison. On the morning of the 7th day before departure, Lung Ruoxue gathered all the elders together. Looking at the listless group of elders, she sighed softly and said slowly, "Fellow elders, how have you been resting these past few nights? Didn't you say that you're a consultant?" An elder yawned and said in an unpleasant tone, "Do you want to continue like this? I know you guys are very dissatisfied with me, and I feel the same way about you guys. Moreover, I can tell you clearly that if it wasn't for my godfather's face, I wouldn't have brought you guys along. To me, you're just a bunch of burdens." Lung Ruoxue said without giving him any face. "What did you just say? You actually called us burdens? Are you a burden?" Another elder said angrily. He stood up while trembling and glared at Lung Ruoxue. "You are. Look at you now. Can you still walk?" Lung Ruoxue scoffed. "Who said we can't move? They'll show you right now." The elder was unconvinced. After he finished speaking, he started to walk in front of Lung Ruoxue. However, he had only taken 2 steps when a loud plop was heard. He fell to the ground. Chapter 1629. Shui is mine. 3. Seeing this, Cheng Xian and the others couldn't help but snicker. This was just an accident. The elder who fell down was so embarrassed that his face and ears were red. He got up with great difficulty, but who knew that this time he didn't even take a step before falling directly to the ground again. At this time, a low laugh came to his ears. He might as well go all out and pretend to be unconscious, because he didn't have the face to stand up again. "Is there any other elder who wants to try?" Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes swept across the sickly elders. "He'll do it," the second elder shouted loudly and stood up, trembling. He wanted to leave for Lung Ruoxue and the others to see. He could not allow others to look down on him. Although he was now Lung Ruoxue's bodyguard, he was still a member of the Ning family. The Ning family could not allow others to mock them. "All right." Lung Ruoxue looked at second elder with a smile that was not a smile, causing second elder to feel extremely guilty. However, he still forced himself to take a few steps forward. After he walked in front of Lung Ruoxue, he was extremely pleased with himself. "I can walk." The second elder spoke very loudly. "It looks like there's no problem." Lung Ruoxue smiled. Then, she extended a slender finger and poked second elder's body lightly. In an instant, a bang was heard. With a loud bang, the second elder fell to the ground. "Second elder, your body is so weak." Upon seeing this, Grape smiled and said with a face full of sympathy, "Second elder, you're my young Miss Bodyguard, but with your current state, I don't know if you're the one protecting her or if she's the one protecting you. You should know that you're a reverent god." Lotus Seed also asked curiously, "Yo, so second elder is this great aunt's bodyguard?" Cheng Xian said in realization, as if he had just found out about this. The second elder, who was lying on the ground, was disgraced by their words. He glanced at the other elders from the corner of his eye and felt depressed. This time, the elders of the Ning family would probably lose all their face. After thinking about it, he put down his pride and said with an aggrieved face, "Miss Lung, I was wrong. Please be magnanimous and help us." Second elder, think carefully. "Do you really need my help?" Lung Ruoxue confirmed. And the second elder nodded. Even though he felt that it was embarrassing to lower his head in front of Lung Ruoxue, it was better than his current half-dead state. "I can help, but I can only help the second elder because the other elders didn't ask me to help. So, I won't be a busybody." Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. "Then I'll have to trouble you, Miss Lung." The second elder gritted his teeth. However, he had also thought it through. It was fine if Lung Ruoxue refused to help the other elders. As long as he learned how to set up a tent and other small matters, he could teach it to the other elders. It's no trouble at all. You're my bodyguard, so it's my duty to help you, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Then, she instructed Grape and Lotus Seed to teach the second elder how to set up the tent. As for cooking, it didn't matter if they didn't teach. After all, these half-grown old men wouldn't starve to death even if they didn't eat. After a long time, the listless and listless elders finally had a place to stay. However, after setting up their tents, they suddenly remembered that they should continue on their way. Then wouldn't this tent be set up for nothing? At the thought of this, all the elders felt extremely depressed. At this moment, they could finally see that Lung Ruoxue had done this on purpose. However, their thoughts did not last long. Lung Ruoxue kindly announced that in view of the elders' weak health, she had decided to rest here for a few days and wait for the elders to recover before leaving. All the elders completely relaxed when they heard this. Just like that, Lung Ruoxue and the rest stayed in this place for another 3 days. 3 days later, the group continued on their journey. As evening approached, they finally arrived at the teleportation array to the godly continent. When they arrived at the teleportation array, they did not waste a single moment. After paying the teleportation fee, they walked into the teleportation array. With a flash of white light, Lung Ruoxue and the rest were teleported to the godly land. Stepping onto the land of the godly mainland, Lung Ruoxue was slightly excited. After being kidnapped for a few months, she had finally returned to the godly mainland. She wondered how Ziyu and the rest were doing. He missed them so much. Not wanting to delay their journey home, Lung Ruoxue decided to travel through the night. 3 days later, the group of them arrived at Yanbei City. They had arrived at Yanbei City, but they could not pass through the city without entering. Yin Kun, who had already received the news, had already come out to welcome them after receiving the report from his subordinate. After welcoming Lung Ruoxue and the rest into the city lord's mansion, Yin Kun was extremely excited. He had not seen his master for a few months and missed him very much. After arranging everyone's living quarters, Yin Kun came to meet Lung Ruoxue. He even prepared a welcome banquet for the second elder and the others. In addition, he also wanted to inquire about the news of the strangers around the master so that he could know the enemy. In a room in the main courtyard of the fallen swallow residence, Lung Ruoxue sat on the main seat, while Yin Kun stood carefully at the side, hesitating to speak. You have something to say? Lung Ruoxue found Yin Kun's expression funny. Miss, the people who are with you seem to be quite powerful. I wonder what their identities are. How should I entertain them? Yin Kun asked out of curiosity. They are all elders of the Ning family. Godfather asked me to train them. You don't have to give them special treatment. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Arg, an elder of the Ning family? I wonder which Ning family you're from? Yin Kun couldn't help but ask. He knew that his master had an unusual relationship with the Nings, and the Nings on the godly mainland had some business dealings with them. Therefore, he knew most of the elders of the Nings on the godly mainland. However, the people with his master were obviously not from the Nings on the godly mainland. Didn't you already guess it? Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Miss, there's really no need. Yin Kun was shocked after confirming his guess. No need. They'll bring them to the Nightmare Forest tomorrow morning. We'll only be staying here for 1 night. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Actually, if it wasn't for the fact that she had been rushing without rest for the past few days, she wouldn't even have stayed the night. In such a hurry, Yin Kun was a little reluctant. After I've settled those old men, I plan to go into seclusion. If you have any important matters, you can look for Ziyu. Lung Ruoxue ordered. Yes. Miss, rest well. I'll take my leave first. Yin Kun turned around and left. After a night's rest in Yin Beicheng, Lung Ruoxue left with the rest the next morning. In the evening, they arrived at the Nightmare Forest. We're finally home. Standing at the edge of the forest, the demon hugged Lung Ruoxue and chuckled. Lung Ruoxue nodded and looked at her territory. Her emotions were extremely complicated. Miss lives in the forest. Grape looked at the forest in front of him and asked in surprise. Yup, this entire forest is our home. Lung Ruashua laughed. Wah, miss, hurry up and bring us home. Grape's curiosity was piqued. Go, let's go home. After Lung Ruashua finished speaking, she summoned Xiao Budian and instructed him to bring them home. Upon seeing a familiar place, Xiao Budian was very excited. He followed Lung Ruakshu's instructions and enveloped everyone in a light circle. In the blink of an eye, they had returned to Lung Ruakshu's house on the mountain. At this moment, Ziyu was sitting in the garden, thinking about something. When he saw the people who appeared in front of him, he was stunned and couldn't help but widen his eyes, his handsome face full of disbelief. Miss, is that you? Seeing Lung Ruashua standing in front of him with a smile, Ziyu couldn't believe it. He thought that he had missed her too much, so his eyes were blurry. He even rubbed his eyes. It was still there. It's really the young miss. Ziyu was extremely excited. Then she shouted, Miss is back. Miss is back? Where was he? Where is he? As soon as Ziyu's voice fell, messy and urgent footsteps could be heard in the distance. Then, 3 figures appeared in the garden. Miss! When they saw Lung Ruashua, 2 figures immediately pounced over in excitement. However, they missed because the evildoer was 1 step ahead and had already pulled Lung Ruashua into his arms. He was even staring at them with a vigilant look. Miss! Yu Qing and Xiang who did not manage to hug Lung Ruashua, looked at her with an aggrieved expression. Their little faces were as pitiful as they could be. Shui is mine, the demon said indifferently as he lifted his eyelids. He was obviously dissatisfied with them for trying to snatch his benefits. What's the big deal with letting us hug you? We're not men. Yu Qing couldn't help but remind him, thinking in her heart that this man was really too petty. Not even women, not to mention a man. The demon said with a non-negotiable expression. Then he added, if you want to hug, you can hug by Xian and Ziyu. Don't even think about Shui. Oh, and this little guy, you can also hug him as you wish. The little fellow he was referring to was Xiao Budian, who was currently lying in Lung Ruakshu's arms. After that, he pulled Xiao Budian out of Lung Ruakshu's arms and threw him to Yu Qing. Yu Qing caught the little guy and fiercely glared at him. You damn little thing, how dare you betray me? They'll teach you a good lesson. After she finished speaking, she raised her hand and smacked Xiao Budian's butt. Chapter 1630. Reverent God is also human. 1 Awu. Sister, save me. This evil woman hit me. As the moon eye's palm fell, an earth-shaking howl suddenly sounded, shaking everyone's eardrums. However, Lung Ruashua didn't help Xiao Budian, because in her heart, she also felt that Xiao Budian deserved a beating. However, she had already forgiven Xiao Budian, so naturally, she couldn't teach him a lesson. Now that Yu Qing was willing to help her, she couldn't ask for more. You ungrateful, bad thing. You did something wrong, and you still dare to ask Miss to save you? No one can save you today. I must teach you a lesson. Yu Qing loudly reproached. When Ziyu and the others saw this, none of them pleaded for the little guy, because they had the same thoughts in their hearts. In an instant, the entire garden was filled with only the sound of Yu Qing's palm and the little guy's world-shaking and wail. After Yu Qing was done teaching Xiao Budian a lesson, she threw him onto the ground. Then, she stared at Lung Ruashua with a fiery gaze and asked softly with a face full of hidden bitterness, Miss, we've missed you so much. I missed you guys too. Lung Ruashua said with a smile. Then how are you doing in the divine realm? Did the En family bully you? Yu Qing said with a worried expression. It's all right. Don't worry. No one would dare to bully me. Lung Ruashua said helplessly. That's good. Miss, who are they? Yu Qing looked at the old men standing behind her young miss and asked curiously. They are the elders of the Ning family. This second elder will be my bodyguard in the future. As for the others, Godfather asked me to help train them. They will be under your command in the future. Lung Ruashua pointed at the second elder and said after some thought, "Don't worry, miss. Well, definitely train them well." Yu Qing smiled evilly, her beautiful eyes sweeping over the Ning family elders. "There's something fishy. Then I'll leave them to you. In a while, you can bring them to the forest to cut some wood." Lung Ruoshu ordered. "No problem." Yu Qing hurriedly nodded. "Why do you want us to cut wood?" The second elder asked in confusion. "Of course you are chopping wood to build a house. Are you planning to live in tents in the mountains?" "Oh, I forgot that you just learned how to set up tents. You probably haven't had enough," Lung Ruoshua said with a smile. "However, second elder, don't blame me for not reminding you. It often rains in this mountain. At night, there are also many beasts and mosquitoes. If you stay in a tent for a long time, I can't guarantee you what will happen. Although your strength is not low, this is after all not the divine realm. So, you could do as you see fit. If you don't want to build your own house, I won't object if you want to live in a tent." Lung Ruoshu added with a smile. Her words made the second elder a little angry. However, he was smart enough not to argue with Lung Ruoshua because he knew very well that he would not be able to outwit her. Thanks, unfortunately, his silence did not mean that the other elders would obediently follow Lung Ruoshu's orders. Hence, the moment Lung Ruoshu's words left her mouth, some elders immediately protested. "Why do we have to build our own houses? Aren't there many houses here?" An elder asked with his eyes wide open. "There are many houses here, but you can't live in them because they all have owners." Lung Ruoshua chuckled. Is this how you treat your guests?" When the elder heard Lung Ruoshu's words, he was so angry that his entire body was trembling. "Are you all guests? How come I didn't know about it?" Lung Ruoshua asked back with a face full of question marks. Her expression was as innocent as it could get. "Of course we're guests." At this moment, the 19th elder, who was lying on the stretcher, shouted weakly. He had been tormented miserably for the past few days, and his body was extremely weak now. Although he had pretended to be sick when he left the Ning family, he had really been sick all the way here. However, no one was willing to care about his life or death, which made him extremely angry. He secretly hated these inhumane people. "Ning Shan, they're my guests." Lung Ruoshua ignored 19th elder and directly asked Ning Shan. "Miss Lung, they're not guests. Since the master has handed them over to you, they will naturally be at your disposal." Ning Shan ignored the flirtatious look from the elders and spoke respectfully. He was very sure that if he really said that these elders were guests, Lung Ruoshua would chase them out without any hesitation. After all, he was under the direct command of the family head, so he naturally would not take these elders seriously. After the elders heard what Ning Shan said, their faces were ashen. They were so depressed that they wanted to bang their heads against a wall. However, Ning Shan represented the old ancestor. Therefore, even if they were dissatisfied, they had to swallow their anger. However, Ning Shan's words made Lung Ruoshua very satisfied. After she nodded her head, she then instructed Yu Qing, Yu Qing, arrange a room for Cheng Xian, Ning Shan, and Ning Bo. The others will take them up the mountain to chop wood, and then let them build their own houses. All right, Mississippi. However, where are the houses of the elders going to be built? Yu Qing couldn't help but ask. She could see that her young miss wanted to give these elders a warning, and as her young miss subordinate, she naturally had to cooperate well. She just didn't know how these elders had offended her young miss. It was really pitiful. Well, just build it opposite our main residence. Lung Ruoshua pondered for a moment before replying. Yes. Yu Qing nodded. Although there was only a river between the main residence and the opposite side, there was still a certain distance. It seemed that the young miss didn't like them very much. She couldn't help but laugh in her heart. Then, she enthusiastically arranged rooms for Cheng Xian, Ning Shan, and Ning Bo. Then, together with Bai Xian and his wife, she led the pale and stupefied elders to the place with the densest trees on the mountain to cut down trees. Yu Qing and the other two brought the elders and specially looked for those huge and old trees for the elders to cut down. If they wanted to surround those trees, they would need at least dozens of people to hug them. Therefore, when the elders saw those huge trees, they were all dumbfounded. Many elders couldn't help but curse in their hearts. Fuck! Could it be that these trees had become spirits? How was he going to do it? Looking at the elders who were obviously in a daze, Yuqing shook her head with a look of disdain. Then, she took out dozens of saws specially used to cut down these giant trees from her storage ring and said to the elders, "Use this saw to cut down all these trees. I don't think I need to teach you how to bring them back." The elders each held a saw and carefully observed it. This saw seemed to be different from what they knew because it was only about a foot long and very thin. However, the edge of the saw was quite sharp. However, they were very suspicious. Could such a small saw cut down this giant tree? Chapter 1631. Reverent God is also human, too. Seeing their doubts, Yuqing gave Bai Xian a look. Bai Xian understood and also picked up a saw. He poured his divine power into it. In an instant, only a flash of green light could be seen, and the huge tree that needed dozens of people to encircle it was cut in half. Seeing this, the elders were shocked. This saw was too sharp. Moreover, with Bai Xian's demonstration, they were more confident in cutting trees. He eagerly picked up the saw and was ready to cut the tree. "Oomph, I can't let that damn little girl look down on me." This was the only thought in the minds of all the elders. However, when they really used the saw, they found that cutting down these giant trees was not as easy as they had thought. Bai Xian seemed to cut it very easily, but when it was their turn, the trees seemed to have discussed it beforehand and refused to cut it. An hour passed quickly, and the elders did not manage to cut down a single tree. Seeing their unhurried appearance, Yuqing and the others didn't rush them. Instead, they took out their lounge chairs and laid down to bask in the sun while eating food. Their eyes would occasionally stare at the elders who were cutting the trees. The exhausted elders were so angry that they almost vomited blood when they saw them like this. However, it was a small matter to die from anger, but their face was important. Therefore, no matter how angry they were, they couldn't be looked down upon by these hateful guys. Suddenly, all kinds of divine power fell on the roots of the giant tree. It wasn't until nighttime that the elders finally had some results of their labor. Basically, everyone had a tree. However, for building a house, one tree was obviously not enough. Bringing all the elders back to the entrance of the Lung family's main residence, Yuqing said with an apologetic face, "It seems that the elders will have to set up their own tents tonight. It's late, have a good rest. We'll continue tomorrow morning." With that, Yuqing, Bai Xian, and his wife entered the main residence with a smile. Watching the backs of Yuqing and the other two, all the elders were angry. Fuck, when had they ever been looked down upon like this? These people were really too much. Like master, like subordinate. These hateful guys are as annoying as that damn girl. This was the inner voice of many elders at this time. However, even though they were not happy, they had no choice but to accept their fate and set up their tents. Otherwise, they would have to sleep in the wild mountains for the night. The next morning, Yuqing and the other two woke up the elders who were as tired as dead dogs. Seeing their drowsy looks, Yuqing said with a surprised look, "You people are either divine emperors or reverent god level cultivators. Why are you still so fond of sleeping? This won't do. Reverent god is also a human." The second elder said unhappily. He could not understand. Wasn't he Lung Ruox's bodyguard? Why did he have to enjoy the same treatment as these elders? Woo, that wretched girl was such a bully. I didn't say that you're not human. I mean, you guys don't need to sleep at all. Yuqing laughed evilly and continued. We also need to conserve our energy. The second elder said helplessly. Although deities above the rank of divine emperor had very little need for food and sleep, that didn't mean that they didn't need to rest. Furthermore, to them, sleeping was also a way of cultivation. Therefore, many deities above the rank of divine emperor still maintain the habit of sleeping every night. Oh, however, compared to recuperating, what you need the most now is a house. Otherwise, when the rainy season comes in a few days, you'll have to be watered. Yuqing reminded him with a smile. Your mission today is to plant 3 trees. Don't even think about sleeping if you don't cut enough. At this moment, Xiang spoke. Thanks what? 3 trees? The elders were dumbfounded. Why was there a number? It took them so long to cut down 1 tree yesterday. Wouldn't it take their lives to cut down 3? It was 3 trees today. If you want to build a decent house, you need at least 20 trees of yesterday's standard. However, your cutting speed is too slow, so we only arranged 3 trees for you today. When you are more skilled in cutting trees, it will be more than this. Also, Miss said that you must cut 20 trees within 5 days. Yu Qing explained. It's already the 2nd day. Xiang'er smiled as she reminded him. Yes, the 3 trees today are just the minimum requirements. If any of you can cut down more trees quickly, you can finish the task earlier so that you can build your houses. Bai Xian said. The elders did not say a word after hearing what they had to say. At this moment, they even wanted to die. Why are you punishing us like this? Although they complained, they had no choice but to follow the arrangements of Yu Qing and the others, who asked the family head to send Ning Shan to supervise them. If they dared to resist, the great ancestor would definitely know at the first moment. At that time, they would definitely be even more unlucky than they were now. Therefore, although they were dissatisfied in their hearts, they had no choice but to swallow their anger. And Yu Qing and the others knew about this, so they had no scruples to ask them to do anything. In fact, it would not take 20 trees to build 1 house, and they were doing it for free. With the experience of cutting trees yesterday, the elders were much more skilled in cutting trees today. Moreover, many of the elders had cut more than 3 trees. The 2nd elder had cut down the most, a total of 7 trees. This result made him extremely excited. However, Bai Xian had poured cold water on his head because Bai Xian had told him to understand team spirit. He was one with the elders, so he had to wait until all the elders had cut down 20 trees before he could teach them to build houses. When the 2nd elder heard this, he was dumbfounded. On the 3rd day, Yu Qing and the other 2 had set a minimum of 5 trees for each of them. The elders, who were getting more and more skilled, only used 1 morning to complete their task. In the afternoon, they continued to cut down 5 trees. Seeing them work so hard, Yu Qing and the other 2 were very satisfied. For days later, other than the sick 19th elder, all the elders had completed their tasks. However, when Bai Xian once again blurted out his team spirit, all the elders automatically went to help the 19th elder cut down the trees. When all the elders had enough trees, Bai Xian took out a drawing and instructed them to start building houses. During the first 3 days of building the house, Bai Xian had the elders lay the foundation. The elders, who had never done such a thing before, were all flustered. However, Ziyu and the others had no intention of helping. With great difficulty, the foundation laid by the elders met the requirements. Then, according to Bai Xian's requirements, they cut the giant trees into the required shape and began to build the house. However, before the house was built, there was a heavy rain. The rain lasted for several days. They could only stay in their small tents and look at the rainy weather outside. The depression in their hearts could not be described with words. Chapter 1632. Reverent God is also human. 3. In contrast to their gloominess, Lung Ruoxue and the rest were in an extremely good mood. However, when he saw the pitiful look on the elders' faces, Cheng Xian felt some sympathy in his heart. In the garden, Lung Ruoxue sat on the stone chair and sipped her tea. She observed the situation outside through the light screen. Cheng Xian was sitting opposite her, deep in thought. Great Aunt, will those elders be fine outside? Those old fogies were all famous deities in the divinity, yet they were being treated like this by Lung Ruoxue. It was really pitiful. Don't worry, you won't die, Lung Ruoxue said disapprovingly. Aren't you afraid that they'll hate you? Cheng Xian asked curiously. Why do you hate me? Who asked them to be so slow? It took them 3 days just to build a foundation. Lung Ruoxue said with a look of disdain. They have never done such a thing. Cheng Xian said with a hint of sympathy. They can learn if they haven't done it before. Didn't I arrange for someone to teach them? Lung Ruoxue said innocently. All right, they're too stupid but when will the rain stop? Cheng Xian looked up at the roof. There was a transparent film on the roof of the main house, so no matter how heavy the rain outside was, it couldn't pour in. Otherwise, they would probably have to stay in the room. Don't worry, it should stop in 2 days. Lung Ruoxue said calmly. That's good, Cheng Xian said, relieved. I say, young Master Cheng, I didn't expect you to care about the elders of the Ning family. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes sized up Cheng Xian as she asked in surprise. Hee. Our Cheng family and the Ning family have been friends for generations. When I'm free, I live in the Ning family, so I'm very familiar with many elders. So, seeing them so pitiful, I naturally sympathize with them. Cheng Xian said, a little embarrassed. Oh, however, they were trained by my godfather, so I'm afraid their future days will be even more pitiful. So, you better put away your sympathy. Lung Ruoxue smiled as she reminded them. Actually, she had already drawn up a training plan for the elders. They could start implementing it after they finished building the house. All right then. After listening to Lung Ruoxue's words, Cheng Xian wiped the cold sweat off his forehead in fear. He thought to himself that he could not offend this terrifying woman. Otherwise, if his treatment fell to the same level as the elders of the Ning family, he would cry himself to death. Young Master Cheng, they'll be going into closed-door cultivation in a few days, so you can have fun by yourself? Lung Ruoxue said, satisfied. Don't worry about me. They'll take care of myself. Cheng Xian quickly said and let out a long sigh. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Suddenly, a look of joy appeared on her face, following which, she saw a few figures appear in the garden. Grandpa, brother. Lung Ruoxue excitedly pounced towards 2 of them. Ha! Swear, Grandpa has missed you so much. Lung Qingtian said with a smile as he held his precious granddaughter in his arms. At this moment, the evildoer came to their side. Grandpa, the demon secretly peeked at Lung Qingtian with a face full of hidden bitterness. He was a little dissatisfied in his heart. Wu grandfather was hugging his woman. Ha! Come, let's hug together, Grandpa. When Lung Qingtian saw this, he stretched out his long arm and pulled the demon into his embrace. He knew all too well what this kid was thinking. After hugging her grandfather, Lung Ruoxue wanted to hug her brother. However, this time, the evildoer held her tightly in his arms and refused to let her hug him. Seeing this scene, everyone could not help but laugh, while Lung Ruoxue was extremely helpless. Miss, guild leader, yes, jealousy seems to have gotten stronger. Fonda teased with a smirk. AI. Lung Ruoxue sighed, her beautiful eyes filled with helplessness. Oomph. You finally come out of seclusion. The demon glanced at Fonda and said with a little dissatisfaction. Don't worry, guild leader Yi. Even if we come out of seclusion, we won't dare to snatch the young miss from you. Fonda, who sensed the danger, quickly promised. His words received a look of admiration from the evildoer, as if saying, at least you know your place. Grandpa, you guys can all advance, right? Lung Ruoxue looked at her grandfather and the rest, as she said, in understanding. Yup. Lung Qingtian nodded happily. Thanks, AI. I'm feeling inferior. I'm still a mid-level deity now. If you guys advance, your level will be above mine. Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of hidden bitterness. However, her words received unanimous disdain from the crowd. Miss, you're a pervert. Don't compare yourself to us. Lu Tao said, somewhat unable to stand it. Although she was a woman, she could not stand her young Miss' coquettish behavior. Yes. Everyone nodded in agreement, clearly in favor of Green Peach's words. Great Aunt. They are. Cheng Xian, who had been watching the commotion, walked over and asked curiously. Great Aunt? When did I have a grandnephew? Lung Ruhan's face was filled with fear. Is this a gift for me to come out of seclusion? Although Fonda and the others didn't say anything, they all looked at Cheng Xian curiously with similar expressions. I'm not your grandnephew. Cheng Xian rolled his eyes and said helplessly, You call my family's young Miss Great Aunt. Young Master Ruhan is my young lattice biological brother. Sueju could not help but remind him. So what? Let's just talk about our own matters, Cheng Xian quickly said. He couldn't accept the sudden appearance of an elder. Grandpa, brother, he's the young master of the Cheng clan of the Immortal Realm. He was just joking, and you guys actually believed him. When Long Ruoxue saw the serious expressions on her brother and the others' faces, she explained speechlessly. Following that, she introduced them to each other. However, when Lu Tao and Suzhu found out that their miss had 2 more maidservants, they were rather upset because they felt that they were about to fall out of favor. Seeing Lu Tao and Qui's resentful expressions, Long Ruoxue sighed softly and said, "In the future, the 4 of you will have to get along like real sisters. In my heart, you're all the same. Don't worry, miss. We will definitely take good care of Lu Tao and little sister Suzhu." When Grape heard Long Ruoxue's words, he quickly expressed his position. Although Miss words warmed their hearts, they also knew in their hearts that Lu Tao and Suzhu had been with Miss for a longer time than them. Their position in Miss' heart must be higher than theirs. However, since they had followed Miss, they naturally had to build a good relationship with the people around Miss. Otherwise, wouldn't they be making things difficult for Miss? Miss will also treat Grape and Sister Lotus Seed as biological sisters, Green Peach also said hurriedly. Then, the 4 of them looked at each other and smiled. Their feelings for each other took root and sprouted in an instant. And Lung Ruoxue nodded and said to Lung Qingtian and the rest, "Grandpa, you guys go back to your own rooms to advance. Let's have a good celebration tonight." "All right," Lung Qingtian agreed. Then, everyone returned to their rooms. Not long after, the laws of the world that had advanced in rank came in waves. The golden pillar of light that represented the laws of heaven and earth enveloped most of the rooms in the main residence for a long time. When Lung Qingtian and the rest walked out of their rooms, most of them had already advanced to the high-level divine being realm. At night, Lung Ruoxue and the rest had a special celebration. The elders of the Ning family who had been cooped up in their tents were also invited into the main residence. Moreover, they knew that they had been invited in because of their relative's promotion. Therefore, they were all very honest. During the feast, everyone heard that Lung Ruoxue was also preparing to enter closed-door cultivation. Immediately, Suizhu and the others who had not advanced to the high-ranked deity stage immediately expressed that they wanted to continue their closed-door cultivation as they were afraid that they would drag down the young miss. 2 days later, the storm that had been going on for several days finally stopped. Once the sky was clear, Lung Ruoxue immediately arranged for Bai Xian and the rest to supervise the elders as they continued to build the houses. Fonda and the others were afraid that Bai Xian and the other 2 would be too busy, so they took the initiative to help. After they joined, the elders deeply felt that their days had become even more deep and difficult. Now, even if they wanted to find an opportunity to slack off, they couldn't find it because the eyes of the supervisors were everywhere. At the same time, Lung Ruoxue took this opportunity to bond with her grandfather, brother, and the others. Half a month later, with the combined efforts of the elders, their residence was finally built. Looking at the exquisite 3-story independent building in front of them, the elders wanted to cry, but had no tears because this was not only the result of their own work, but also their residence for a period of time in the future. However, what they didn't understand was, since each house only had 1 elder, why did they have to build 3 floors? After all, in their opinion, 1 room was enough for them to live in. However, there were 3 floors now, and there were more than 10 bedrooms inside. Could this be used? However, when they first started building the house, they didn't know that they were going to build a small 3-story building. It was only 2 days before the house was completed that they were surprised to find that their residence was so large. Even though some elders raised their doubts, in Lung Ruoxue's words, their status was so distinguished, so their residence naturally had to match their status. Therefore, it was only right for it to be bigger. After the elders were duped by Lung Ruoxue, although they agreed with her, they still felt that there was something wrong with Lung Ruoxue's words. However, they could not put their finger on what was wrong. Hence, They could only move into their own houses resentfully. Lung Ruoxue was extremely satisfied when she saw that the elders' residence had been settled. Moreover, the house had been built according to her strict requirements. After giving some instructions to Ziyu and the rest, she brought the evildoer and the rest into the bracelet to cultivate in seclusion. Chapter 1633. The Punishment for 19th Elder. 1. After knowing that Lung Ruoxue was in closed-door cultivation, Second Elder and the rest heaved a sigh of relief because this meant that their lives would be better. However, when they found out that Lung Ruoxue had handed them over to her subordinates to manage, the anger in their hearts burned with a whoosh. With Second Elder in the lead, the elders immediately went to find Ningxuan to uphold justice. In Ningxuan's room, he frowned as he looked at the ashen-faced elders. He was so depressed that he wanted to bang his head against the wall. Woo! What task did the family head arrange for him? None of these elders were easy to deal with. However, the people on Lung Ruoxue's side were even more difficult to deal with. After weighing the pros and cons, he decided to remain neutral and deal with matters in a formal manner. Captain Ning, Master said that Lung Ruoxue was going to train us, right? The 19th Elder was the first to question. The Master has handed you over to Miss Lung. Ningxuan said very cautiously. These elders were all old and shrewd, so he was especially careful when he spoke, so as not to be tricked by them and be unable to deal with it. If that's the case, why should her subordinates care about us? Lung Ruoxue isn't here. The 19th Elder said angrily. He had endured it when he had asked them to cut down trees and build houses because that damned woman hadn't gone into seclusion at that time. But now, that damned woman had gone into seclusion, but she still wasn't willing to let them go. How could they tolerate this? That's what Miss Lung told us before she went into seclusion. She drew up a training plan for all of you and let her subordinates be in charge of training all of you. Also, don't forget that the family head told you all to listen to Miss Lung's arrangements. Ningxuan was very reserved, but the meaning between the lines was obvious. She wanted them to follow Lung Ruoxue's arrangements. Captain Ning, we're all elders of the Ning family, people with status and reputation in the divine realm. If word gets out that we're being trained by some little guys, the Ning family will lose face, right? The 19th Elder said with an aggrieved expression. 19th Elder, I can understand how you feel, but this is the Patriarch's decision. Unless the Patriarch comes in person, no one could change it. So, I think you'd better receive their training. If you resist the training, it will be very difficult for me, because I have to report the results of your training to the Patriarch truthfully. Ningxuan said, pretending to be helpless. Captain Ning, are you really not willing to help us? We're family. You can't help outsiders. The 19th Elder couldn't help but remind him. 19th Elder, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I'm powerless. Ningxuan said in a very troubled manner. Then he said, of course, if you really don't want to accept their training, I can't force you, but I won't hide it for you. I will report the truth to the family head. At that time, what punishment the family head will give you will not be up to me to decide. Isn't there a saying that goes, those who understand practice are wise? Seeing that we're all part of the Ning family, I advise you to accept their training obediently. There's no good for you to cause trouble, and you might even get into trouble. Moreover, if this matter is known by the Patriarch, I'm afraid you'll be even more unlucky. Ningxuan added in a serious tone. Don't tell me we can only accept our fate. One of the elders said, unwilling to give up. However, no elder responded to him, and Ningxuan only looked at him with a little sympathy, and also did not say anything. The atmosphere instantly fell silent. After a long while, the second elder unwillingly opened his mouth and said, if that's the case, then let's accept their training. The sooner we can satisfy Master, the sooner we can return to the Ning family. Second Elder, you're an understanding person. Ningxuan praised. AI. All the elders sighed with a face full of worry, and then walked out of Ningxuan's room dejectedly. At this point, all the elders understood that there was no point in saying more. Ningxuan could not help them at all. The elders had just left when Fengde and Chengwu walked in from outside. Hee. These elders had come in high spirits, but left in low spirits. They must be very disappointed. Feng Daxing said with a gloating smile. Thanks, yup. I can't help them at all. Ningshan said honestly. No one can help them. Unless your master personally brings them back, they can forget about escaping from our hands. Fengda laughed evilly. He had been in seclusion all this time, and now that he finally had something fun to do, he had to make good use of it. As long as they're still breathing, the master will not care about their lives. Ningshan said with a smile, giving him a heads up. Hee. With your words, we're at ease and can play to our heart's content. Fengda said with a smile. When Ningshan heard Feng Da's words, black lines immediately appeared on her forehead. What did he say? He wouldn't harm these elders, right? Although the master was a little angry with them, they were the elites of the Ning family. After all, it was better not to be played to death by them. When he saw Ningshan's suddenly worried expression, Fengda patted Ningshan's shoulder like a brother and said, Brother, don't be afraid. I won't play them to death. Fengda understood. That's good. Ningshan nodded in relief, but he was thinking to himself, the Emperor God will probably ban this game, right? Hee. Don't think about those elders anymore, good brother. Let's go. Let's go for a drink. Fengda put his arm around Ningshan's shoulder and said very enthusiastically. Then, Fengda and Chengwu pulled Ningshan's arms and went to bond with him. Early the next morning, Fengda beat the gongs and drums to wake up the elders who were still in their dreams. The elders came out of the room and saw Fengda and the others standing outside their house. Their faces immediately fell. What were these people doing so early in the morning? Feng Da's eyes were like torches as he looked around at the elders present. After counting the number of people, he realized that one elder was missing. Where's the 19th elder? Fengda asked loudly. He's probably still sleeping. He'll go get him. Chengwu said resentfully. Then, Chengwu turned around and entered the 19th elder's house. After a while, an earth-shattering cry came from 19th elder's house. Arg! We'll let you in. Then, everyone heard a bang. A piece of trash flew out of the window. Io, are you trying to murder me? The trash that flew out of the window leaped up and roared in anger. This trash who was shouting in anger was the late 19th elder. At this moment, Chengwu stuck his head out of the window and chuckled, 19th elder, you're late. I'm helping you. How can you learn from that guy and not recognize a good person's heart? Chapter 1634. The Punishment for 19th Elder 2. Are you a good person? None of you are good people. 19th Elder glared at Chengwu, who was looking down on him, and shouted angrily. Stop arguing. 19th Elder, quickly return to the team. Fengda didn't give Chengwu a chance to speak as he shouted at the 19th Elder in a bad mood. Return to the team? Which team? When 19th Elder heard this unfamiliar word, he didn't even care about quarreling with Chengwu and asked Fengda stupidly. See for yourself. Fengda pointed at the elders who were already standing in 2 rows. 19th Elder looked in the direction Fengda was pointing at and saw that the other elders were standing in an orderly manner. He was the only one who stood out from the rest. 19th Elder, hurry up and stand in your position. Fengda ordered. My position? Where is he? The 19th Elder had come too late and was unable to figure out the situation. The second row, behind the second Elder. Fengda reminded. 19th Elder stood up unwillingly. Seeing that all the elders were present, Fengda cleared his throat and said very cautiously, Since today is the first day of training, we won't pursue your lack of discipline. From tomorrow onwards, as long as you hear the whistle or gong, you must dress up and line up at this position. If you are late again, you will be punished tomorrow. Moreover, the punishment will not only be for the latecomer, but the entire team will be punished as well. What do you mean by an entire team? The second Elder asked shamelessly. He had heard a few new terms today, but he didn't quite understand them. We've already divided you into 2 groups. The first row's elders are one group. The second elder is the leader, and the 19th elder of the second row is the leader. In the future, If anyone in your two groups breaks the rules or can't complete the task we've assigned, your entire group will be punished. Do you understand? Fonda asked loudly. Oh, all the elders nodded. Although they did not fully understand the situation, they would not admit it as they were concerned about their reputation. From today onwards, we'll be conducting military management on all of you. Therefore, all of you must absolutely obey our orders. From now on, we'll be your instructors, and all of you must respect us and not disobey our orders. Otherwise, you'll be punished by military law. Fonda said, What is military management? 19th Elder asked in confusion. For some reason, these words made him feel very uneasy. It means to strictly manage you. Fonda explained simply. Oh, the 19th Elder replied softly. I know that all of you elders are people with status and position in the divine realm. Therefore, for the sake of your face, shouldn't you all also perform well? Fonda said with a smile. Naturally, the 19th Elder said arrogantly. Those who could become elders in the Ning family were all old foxes who had gone through hundreds of battles and countless tests. Therefore, they did not take the militarized management that Fonda spoke of seriously at all. It's good that the elders are confident. Now, we'll begin your first training. This is also your daily routine, and you must complete it no matter what. That was long-distance running. Do you see these mountains? From today onwards, you will have to run around these mountains once every day. You can only run with your legs, and you're not allowed to use divine skills or use flying beasts to slack off. You'll be punished. Fonda said with a smirk. Thanks in his heart, he really admired his young Miss idea because this idea was really too good. These elders were used to being pampered, and no matter where they went, they would have beasts as a means of transportation. It was likely that it had been many years since they had used their two legs to walk so much. After running down these few mountains, they would definitely be half dead from exhaustion. He was very much looking forward to the tragic state of these elders. Sure enough, when the elders heard Feng Da's words, their faces all turned black, because they never dreamed that the first training that the wretched girl arranged for them was actually running. This was really too much. They were gods. How could he let them run like ordinary people? My young miss said that running is to train your physical fitness and also to help you lose weight. Look at some of you, all of you are so fat. You're so embarrassing. Fonda, who could tell what they were thinking, said with a look of disdain. However, when they heard Fonda say the words fat head and big ears, many of the elders subconsciously looked at the 19th Elder. The 19th Elder's face turned red, and he was embarrassed by their stares. Damn it, why are you all looking at me? The 19th Elder said angrily. None of the elders replied, only thinking in their hearts, because you're the fattest one among us. We've all been implicated by you. 19th Elder, you are the fattest of all the elders, and you also need to lose weight the most. Fonda said what the other elders didn't say, and his mood was very good. 19th Elder was speechless. His chest heaved up and down. All right, everyone, don't waste any more time. Today, Big Brother Chung will be leading the team, and tomorrow, the second elder and the 19th elder will be leading the team. So, you better memorize the route. If you get lost, we won't come to find you. By the way, if any of your elders were to get lost, I'm sure that the thirsty female beasts in the forest would be very happy. Fonda laughed. A thirsty mother beast. When the elders heard these words, their expressions changed drastically, and they all looked at Fonda in unison, their eyes red as they asked, What do you mean? Ha, let's go. Fonda laughed and changed the topic. This matter could only be understood and not described. Let's go. The leader of the group, Chung Wu, gave the order and left with the elders. At noon, Chung Wu and the rest had not returned. However, Fonda and the rest were not worried at all because they had been observing the elders' every move through the light screen. Fonda and the others were all gathered in front of the light curtain in the garden. Chung Xian's eyes widened as he looked in disbelief at the elders on the screen, who were as tired as dead dogs. He said with a little sympathy, This is their daily routine? Can they even finish? In fact, what he wanted to ask was if they had any other tasks other than running around a few mountains. They have to do it even if they can't finish it. Besides, this is the easiest task among all their missions. Fonda said honestly. What else is there? Cheng Xian was curious. The secrets of heaven must not be divulged. Fonda kept him in suspense. Don't be like this. We're friends. Cheng Xian begged pitifully. I'm sorry. This is a trade secret. I can't tell you even if you're my friend. Fonda remained unmoved. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.